thinking. Wow, did that end tight, huh? That was boom.
Oh, done. Song over.
It was getting punched in the stomach by T-Rex. Tony Visconti produced.
Oh.
Yeah, he came in one time. And I think he found T-Rex and he used to do all the Bowie stuff. He lived the life that I wanted to live. Tony V. Tony fucking V. There you are. It's the Bennington Show on a Friday. I'm Ron Bennington. This is Gail Bennington.
Yo.
And I'm Ron Bennington. I understand why you do that. Well,
Seems like you said it
Seems
twice.
like a shot. Seems like the shot heard around the world. All right, folks. I'm all kind of a little disjointed here because of some stuff that's going on. But today at 2:00, it's the Unmasked with the group from Schitt's Creek. And they're some talented people.
It's Catherine O'Hara, Eugene Levy, his son Daniel Levy, and Annie Murphy. That airs today at 2 p.m.
Love them. Love them all, down to a person.
Do you love that they're a family who does a project together?
Yes.
Father-son's project?
Yes.
Just like our father-son project?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. I like to call this show Bennington and Son. Son of a bitch. Meanwhile, I'm still thinking. You RT'd a thing from Mooch Rex today that I got a big kick out of.
Yes, this is some beautiful artwork he made for the possible film Love Me Tinder with the violent killer / dater.
I do own a sword.
You do own a sword.
But you're afraid to take it home.
Why won't you take that sword home?
He thinks he'll do harm to himself.
Oh, God.
It's sharp.
Then why do you keep it near us, your coworkers?
Well, if there's an active shooter and something has to...
Can we come up with a better name than coworkers? I always hated that name. And I hate this name. And I can't even say it. All right, I'm going to say it, but I hate office mate.
Do you like flatmates versus office
No, I don't
mate?
like that at all.
I don't like when American people say flatmates. It really bothers me.
Vito, why the funny joke that I don't get ice water anymore?
Oh,
Is
here it
this
is.
prank? Oh, he
It was
hit
pranked.
it. Yeah, good
It's
prank.
It's like a little game he plays every day.
All
It's
right,
like
find the water.
Okay. You got it today.
This wouldn't be funny if we did a show in the desert. Someone could die. And meanwhile, well, Chris, that looks exactly like you.
It does.
Did you pose for that somewhere?
No, Ron. I mean, I like it.
By the way, what is that from? Where is that swordsman from?
I don't know. It looked, at first I thought it looked kind of like a Game of Thrones, but I don't think it is.
13th Warrior, that Antonio Banderas movie from the...
Okay.
I think he got the head to body ratio down perfectly.
In real life, that guy's neck would break. And meanwhile, I'm still thinking. I like when he says that, and I like when he says dance. And I like that there was one point where the background singer thinks they're singing Get It On and has to stop real fast. Get it on. And I don't know whether that was done by accident or
just leave it. It's funny.
Yeah, I always like when they leave stuff in. I'm a one-take Johnny. That's me.
Do you like, is there a name for the thing that
Office mate.
when
Awful.
when a track starts, like they start recording, but they leave in the all right, let's do it again. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot.
Yeah, I don't think there's a name for it, but I also like that. We're like, we ready, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, and start. It always makes me laugh too.
I feel like there's a couple Beatles tracks like that where there's like a little something like that in the beginning.
There is.
Fiona Apple uses it a lot. Like
Bowie has used it. There's a thing in Give It To Me with the J. Giles band where he goes, "No, don't touch the knobs because I think this is the one," or something like that. I always wondered what it was. And he was just like a little sick of the fucking producer fucking around. He just wanted to just leave it.
Just leave the knobs.
Leave this shit.
All right, here we go. For real this time. That's
No, I don't think that is a name. That's something that we could name if we wanted to. And that would make us the most famous people who ever lived. By the way, there's a thing about internet celebrity with Will Sasso up on the iBank today. And I think that Will Sasso is as funny as a sketch comedian can ever be.
I was crying laughing at this. It's like a short film in which he plays I don't even want to say a budding internet celebrity because it's never going to work out for him.
It's Tommy Z.
But he's so earnestly trying very hard to go viral, to have a YouTube internet presence. And
Chris, who were the comics? Like 2 years ago, I did some Unmasked in Montreal. And one of them is a very big stand-up.
Chris D'Elia?
Yeah. So Chris D'Elia brings up that Will Sasso is his friend. And like, if it was up to me, Will Sasso would be the biggest star in America. And Chris is like, well, he's doing good. And I'm going, look, I'm not saying he's not fucking doing good.
No.
You're taking it the wrong way now.
You said biggest star.
I want him, seriously, I don't know, like he should be bigger than The Rock. That's what I'm saying. Like he should be in wrestling and he should be in movies. And he should be enormous in Snapchat.
It's crazy that he doesn't have a TV show because he's doing that perfect kind of, what do they call that when it's like they took the mockumentary, The Office did it,
yeah,
Parks and Rec.
Yeah, that's it, mockumentary.
And he does that perfect like cringe style comedy that is just like.
He was in the one where they went to the dog show, the Chris Guest thing where they went to the dog show. He had a very small part, and he kept saying to the dog, "What are you going hunting?" And he was
yeah, that's right. Holy shit!
And it was only in it for like a fucking minute, and it was the funniest shit. You go hunting, Blue?
I totally forgot that.
Vito sent us something today from a Philadelphia news. I think it's Channel 29. And what happened is that the lead guy, the anchor, wore a pink sweater, right? Mm-hmm. So, and this is during the snowstorm. So this is just yesterday. So this is a guy that is his I'm going to say office mate, his coworker. The coworker's out in the snow, and he's teasing the anchor for wearing a pink sweater. So just hit play.
Right, once. I want to be able to help you model your sweater a little more. You're going to do something that this kid, I went to school with Tommy McCann. If a kid came to school in Camden wearing that sweater, he'd go up to the kid, and, are you going to do this with me, Mike? He'd say, put your left hand on your hip. If we can get a shot of Mike doing that. And then with your right hand, Mike, are you listening?
Yeah.
With your other hand, while your left hand's still on your hip, try to touch your right shoulder with your knuckles with your other hand. Are you doing that right now? And then Tommy would say, "Hi, guy."
I don't think this is appropriate for this teapot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure that was. I'll think that's funny later. Blowing and drifting.
Holy shit!
How fucking.
Oh my skin is crawling. Look, I'm sure, Tommy, what was
Tommy McCann.
Tommy McCann.
In Camden, I think.
I'm sure he was very funny at the time.
Oh, sure. I think if this was like 1983.
Oh, yeah, we'd be dying.
Yeah.
We'd be loving this moment. But it's
what
just
did he say? Hi, guy or something?
Hi, guy.
Hi, guy. Get it?
Because your shirt's pink.
No,
it's 2017, but I'm still confused when men wear pink shirts.
The fact that pink is supposed to somehow be horrifying still after all these years.
And then, that's just something that we made up.
Yes.
It used to be the opposite.
It's a color.
It used to be the opposite. We used to dress little boys in pink because red was a masculine decided a masculine color. So pink was like the softer version of that. And blue, it had something to do with, the Virgin Mary wore blue or something like that. And they used to put little girls in blue. And then one day they switched it. And now it's just like, you can't wear pink. That's for girls.
Do you also know that we switched red states and blue states? Like back in in the Reagan era, there would be blue states for Reagan.
What?
I don't know. It's like we act like something matters and then it doesn't. And then we act like the new thing matters. I don't get it.
I had no idea.
Coming up at 2:00, it's Unmasked, Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Annie Murphy, and Daniel Levy, who is Eugene's son. They created the show Schitt's Creek together. Hey, Rob, what's up, buddy?
Good morning, guys. Best part of my day listening to you.
Thank you, man.
I have a question. I can't wait for the Unmasked. I'm going to be listening for one thing in particular. Does Daniel Levy ever throw shade on his dad and take away a compliment? I mean, like, cut it off right when it's happening?
Canadians aren't like that. They're very, very kind and respectful people. It reminds me of a story that happened to me, though, doing a Gail Meets Girls episode. I was about to get a compliment.
No, didn't really happen that way.
You and Trump both need to pay attention to what the votes are. 2-1, accept. Or go to an appeals court.
I'm taking that court to
Bruce,
court.
Levittown. Bruce.
Hey, Benningtons, love your show.
Yeah.
So I was thinking he was talking about the studio talking before a song. How about Daydream Believer by the Monkees?
What does he say in that?
He says, like, yeah, I know I'm short, don't pick on me.
All right, hold on. Let's hear this.
I didn't know that.
I don't remember this at all.
I'm pretty sure. I hope I got the right song.
All right, let's hold on.
Because I'm short, I know.
Everybody always tries to talk like that little guy. When I first got to New York, I was still staying in a hotel, and it was right near Carnegie Hall where he was doing something, and I come walking down the street, and there he is, little Davy Jones, and he was with somebody that I'm going to imagine was his manager or producer, and was just in this fucking guy's face. And he was Rumpelstiltskin furious, just fucking stamping on the ground like, I'm not going to put up with this kind of and I'm like, holy shit, it's the best thing I ever saw in my life. Because I literally, that guy was like a jockey before he was a singer. That's how tiny he was.
Short anger is great.
It's the best.
It's the best. I've explained this before. A big man's anger, that's intimidating.
Yeah.
No one's having fun with it. You know
Danny
what I mean?
DeVito angry is fucking hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. Is that a Boyce and Hart song? Did Boyce and Hart write that?
We'll find out right now.
Good. Get all over that shit. I mean, just serious. Let's lock the fucking facts down.
It's because I'm short, I know.
That was a good call. How hard is it for you to fucking read?
It was not a Boyce and Hart song.
Who was it then?
Not saying who's the writer of the
They
song.
just say it's not Boyce and Hart.
John Stewart.
From the Daily
What?
Show?
Oh my God, he's talented. He really is.
Now, what else has John Stewart written?
He also wrote Gold. That's his own hit.
Gold.
He was in the Kingston Trio.
Really?
Yeah.
So he was much older when he handed that song over. That doesn't sound like a Kingston Trio song. You got to be wrong about this, Chris.
And then he had a solo career, the post-trio years.
I understand that you think he had a career, but when we consider career, it's shit that we would know, not gold. Jeff in Cherry Hill.
Hey, Bennington.
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell you that the reporter on Fox 29 making fun of the anchor, his name is Steve Keeley, and he used so much fake tanner that he's oranger than Trump. He looks like Willem Dafoe had a kid with a pumpkin.
Now that you're pointing it out, he does look pretty orange right there in the thing. Now, do you think he's going to take big heat for this, or is this like a Philly thing that'll get dropped?
Nah, it'll be dropped.
Yeah.
He's been on the news forever, so...
But you just really can't go out and do, oh, look at your sweater, you're gay, jokes anymore.
It just doesn't work.
And it's not like those other people who act like, well, when I say that, I don't mean homosexuals. I mean, you know what I mean? As if that makes sense. That'll come up in an Unmasked next Thursday. But, you're just literally saying, oh, hi, guy, I'm wearing a pink sweater.
It's funny because it's kind of to the theme of the day, because it was, when I saw it, it reminded me so much of like Fred Willard in Best in Show. Yeah. Like it's that kind of like just like outdated humor that's kind of like cringe. Like you have to laugh at it because it just makes your skin crawl.
Dude, there's Fred Willard talk in this Unmasked at 2:00 because obviously Eugene and Catherine O'Hara. He's not Eugene O'Hara. I just didn't say Levy. And Catherine O'Hara had to work with him, and she was bringing up times of things that they have to do not to laugh.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm going to foreshadow here by saying what comes up, because I'm like, in improv, they always make a thing about connecting to the other person, and you think, but Fred Willard never does that. He just goes outside of whatever the conversation is. You see him play the dad on Modern Family, and he's just fucking crazy. He's just hilarious. I'm going to tell another fucking New York story, and it happened at almost the same place right outside of Carnegie Hall. I'm walking down the street, and I see Fred Willard coming, and he's talking away, and I'm like, holy shit, there's some Fred Willard thing being shot here. Nope. Just Fred Willard talking to himself walking down the street. It's fucking amazing.
Just like in full,
just talking around. I guess he was like, where the hell is this place? Where am I supposed, you know what I mean? Like, this was pre-Bluetooth, you know? He was the last person who went to a fucking adult film place to jack off. I guess he didn't get the internet yet. There was a thing a couple years ago.
Now, did he get a lot of heat for that, or at this point, everyone's just okay with it?
Yeah, I think people were just more amused by it. Like, oh, there's still porn theaters out there. People are jacking in. That was really surprising.
What part?
That there's an open and operating porn theater.
Matt, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Bennington.
Hey.
I was thinking of David Bowie, Gene Genie. There's a part where I think the bassist screws up. He says, "Get back on that chord."
Is it in the beginning of the song, or we'll never find it? I know before he does Andy Warhol in the Hunky Dory album, he's explaining how to pronounce the name to the producer or engineer, and it's very, very strange.
Now, what do you think makes them want to, like...
I think they just think, oh, this sounds real. It sounds organic.
Like, yeah.
You know? Anyway, that's how it started, and then we got carried away and started listening to it. And he thinks about paint, and he thinks about glue. Hey, here's our friend Sharon in Philly. Sharon, how are you?
Hey, guys. Long time no talk to.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, first of all, I want to thank you for tailoring the show, Monkeys and Bowie, for me. So,
yes, it's everything. And we were talking about Roxy Music the other day, so it's all there for you.
That's right. It's all... Yes, so a couple of things about the talking. So have you ever played the Bowie's Laughing Gnome where he talks all the way through it?
Yeah.
Which is very cool.
And then the Monkeys also have that I Want to Buy Me a Dog song that's just yes. Almost straight talking.
Yes, exactly. And following up with your thing about Davy Jones screaming, I mean, he was the guy who actually took over the business of the Monkees, and he kind of ran that whole thing. So he was actually the reason why the four of them never really got together, because Mike Nesmith and him never got along.
Is that right? Is that what it was all about?
Yeah, he was actually like pretty much a jerk as they went into their later career.
That's always funny, is like you don't expect to get this thing, and then it happens, and you're like, well, now we're going to fucking do it perfectly. You know what I mean?
But I always love when the genre doesn't match the attitude. Like if you have like a happy poppy band, but you're just like terrible tempers, or like how you said, like the Eagles, like they seem chill, but they're really actually really uptight and intense.
They're like really difficult lawyers. You know what I mean? Well, here's the best example of all time. Jerry Lewis, who was like the silly man-child, and as soon as it was over, he's like, what the fuck is going on? All right? I'm a fucking genius. You even know my IQ? I'll have you killed. It was not even that long ago. He did this thing at the Friars Club. This is a few years ago, where he said he was going to have Joan Rivers killed because of something she said. And I talked to Joan, and she's like, hey, I take it back then. I don't... Like, she acted like he was fucking super connected.
Yeah, like he was going to make good on it.
Yeah. She was like taking it serious, like, hey, look, it's not worth it. Sorry.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I'm not an idiot. I don't want fucking Jerry Lewis to send his soldiers out to put a tool in the back of my head. All right, Sharon, great to talk to you, honey.
Yeah, I miss you guys. Hopefully see you soon. I wish I could come up for the Joel McHale. I love him so much.
Yeah, that should be a good one.
It's going to be great.
That's happening Friday, February 17th at 3 p.m. at the SiriusXM studios. Go to theinterrobang.com for a chance at free tickets. That's a week from today.
And you're sending out this stuff for what?
Oh, for the first round of Street Jokes invites have gone out. So check your spam email just in case it might have gone there.
Okay, so a lot of times email goes directly into spam now.
It does, yeah. I've had it happen to me with some important things.
I have Chris down as spam for my computer. It just filters everything he says.
He just retitled that as Chris Trash.
So, Chris, if you have something important to tell me, send it to Jen and then she'll send it to me.
Okay.
And that way, I know it's not your normal spam. Hey, what do these guests look like? Here's 50 fucking names for 2 months from now.
This way I get an idea.
You just said, I just want to get some idea.
Get an idea of who you'd like to come in.
Yeah, but you said get some idea.
Trailed off.
Seriously. Yeah. You found yourself doing a little sketch that no one else was doing.
If you could see my reaction to him saying it, I'm like this shitty kid knowing like my siblings getting in trouble. I just immediately looked at you with this face like, he's going to get him. Get him.
So, yeah, you got to check your emails if you applied, because if you don't reply to the email, Chris doesn't put you on the list.
Exactly.
And then people, this is why we're actually saying this. Then people write to me and they go, Chris fucked me over. I never heard back. And I say to Chris, and then he tells them to check his spam. So that guy's head looks like an actual square. I'm just saying the shadow. I don't know. It's a Rock'em Sock'em robot. His shadow looks exactly like a Rock'em Sock'em robot.
That is so strange.
I know. I'm dying
Is it a hat? Is it a flat
Yeah, it must be a
top?
hat. Okay, that's what it is. It's a hat. It's like if Kid and Play was working out. It's 2 days in a row I mentioned Kid and Play. And is Kid the one that has the flat top?
I believe so, yes. I can double check.
You don't have
I'm going to double check, Ron. I want to make sure
I don't want
to fuck this
I want
up
you to stay out of it. I want you to stay out of it. Some things could just hang there, Chris, like when you make a statement.
Kid's got that high top.
Okay. Thanks for checking.
I didn't check.
Eric, Youngstown.
Hey, Ron. How you doing today?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, beginning of Roxanne from the Police, you hear that bang and then that laugh. And I heard Sting talking about he knocked over a keyboard and didn't start laughing about it. He just left it in.
All right, let me take a listen, because I don't. This doesn't jump out at me either. I remember when they first started, there was some critical backlash about them for playing, reggae music. And they were calling it plastic reggae and shit. Like, you're never supposed to,
Right. Well, they didn't come up with the term cultural appropriation yet.
Then there was Alyssa Milano the other day that everyone was getting mad at her for wearing cornrows, right?
Yeah, she had cornrows and
dreads. Was it straight dreads or
weave,
just corn?
But the weave was braided. I don't know. But I also immediately people started responding, and giving her negative attention. So I was reading through comments of people, and I saw a lot of black women going, "Look, I'm not calling this cultural appropriation. I'm just saying your hair looks like shit. You've done it terribly." So they think it was a really bad job.
But it's like dreads. It looks exactly like dreads. But I also saw black women with straight Western hair saying that she has no right to wear her hair this way.
It's really funny because what they were really paying attention to is if you look in the background, there's 3 different people who are kind of giving her shady eye.
Yeah.
But one of them has relaxed blonde hair. So you're well,
yes. People can wear their hair any way they want.
Do whatever you want.
I mean, if we have to accept Caitlyn Jenner,
then we must, please.
Then everything is fucking acceptable from that point. But no, here's a good point. So Caitlyn Jenner still has Bruce Jenner's dick, right?
Yeah.
But
she's
that's
hanging on to it.
Okay, but we're still supposed to call a person with a cock a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, when that woman that was with the NAACP, who identified as black, turned out to be white, everybody was fucking furious with her.
I don't want to say a heated conversation, but I had a similar thing that I was speaking to with a trans friend of mine who was trying to tell me that it was very, very different. But I still was feeling okay, I get
everybody's on their own team.
Yeah.
They don't need fucking facts to be on their own team.
That's what I was kind of saying.
No,
it was this is something that we can understand, and that's not dissimilar to people who don't understand you identifying differently. So.
And that person literally did good work as a black woman even though she was white. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't doing it to get something for herself. She identified as black. It seems like people should have said, hey, all right, what are you going to do?
Like, well, she's
a lot of honkies are black now. What are you going to do? Do we still say honky? Is that still? I
think it's cracker now.
It's not been cracker since the crack of the whip.
But particularly when it comes to hair, maybe it's because I like wearing my hair in braids and shit like that. But I just I'm like, come on, everyone can wear everything.
I'm going to need this whole thing changed so it's much larger, Chris. I've talked to you about this for how long now?
Oh, since it's coming into place.
And yet, because look, if you look, I can't tell these letters apart. The letters are all running together like Donald Trump's handwriting. So I'm going to say, is your name Cisco, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because it looks like it could be Osco. Cisco.
Sometimes I get Crisco too, you know.
Well, no, you tell me you're the Cisco kid and you fucking leave it at that.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to tag on to what you're talking about, the Eagles.
Yeah.
And, how they're a group of the people and down to earth and all that. And, the way they railroaded Don Felder out of the band, Glenn Fry and Don Henley really showed their stripes. How they're just
by the way, if you would have followed that, that's like the third or fourth person they pushed out of the band. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And the whole thing about them being some people just put that upon them because they sounded like they were, from the Canyon, like they were Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. But they were an ambitious bunch of guys from Jump Street. You know what I mean? And that Eagles documentary is one of the most amazing fucking things you'll ever watch. And they literally act like, Felder gave us a bunch of, bad fucking tapes all the time. And, finally won Hotel California and we go and fucking, and you're just like, well, look, you're playing down the fact, but this is your most famous fucking song. And it's one of the most recognizable songs from that lick of all fucking time. Like, no matter where you are in the world, you're going to end up hearing that lick. I mean, you could be in fucking China and fucking turn on the radio and that lick will come up. And that documentary is unfucking believable for their dickishness. I mean, it's great. It's one of the most watchable ever.
They're just like bros, like dude bros almost, like California aging dude bros.
None of them are from California.
Oh, really?
Those guys all moved. Henley's from Texas. Glenn Fry was from Michigan, and there were guys that moved out. There. Yeah, but so they didn't grow up with that vibe, and they moved there because they were ambitious musicians. Right. They wanted to be in a group that had hit songs. They wanted to be incredibly fucking professional. Everybody just put on it like, oh, they have long hair, so I guess they're like hippies. No, they never were. They're fucking bankers. And they don't fucking play around when it comes to cutting up the money. You know what I mean? It's like Goodfellas, where you're just seeing fucking members of the gang fucking hanging, frozen in some meat locker. The weird thing is that scene, you know how when he's at that fucking shitty place and they open him? I think that's shot down in the meatpacking district, right? Where it's just like expensive Europe trash now. Like when you go to the meatpacking district in the summer, it's like walking into an Italian Vogue. You just don't even run into regular folk.
It's a very weird scene. Like, I never spend any time down there, but I always feel like if I'm in the meatpacking district, it's usually I'm in a cab going to a different neighborhood, and I'm always just like, ugh, let's get out of here.
Well, when you first moved to New York, there was literally blood in the streets from slaughtering fucking cows and shit. And now it's some of the most expensive, part of town. And for some reason, European rich people are incredibly attracted to it.
And that change seemed to happen really fast like overnight, where I was just like, wasn't there other stuff here?
We used to do the Unmasked down at Comics, right? So I used to be down there all the time. And it's, there used to be like some old steak restaurants that have been around forever. I can't think of the name of that one. Old Homestead, which has been there. It's like 150 years old. And then all of a sudden you just turn around and all these incredibly great new restaurants are showing up, and these you go into one of those, it's like a clothing store, but there's like, and it's a huge place, and then there's like 3 separate dresses hung up. And you're like, what do they sell here? Where are the clothes? Back somewhere else?
This is $1,000.
Yeah. It costs you like $1,500 to walk inside. Like, here, I want to look at those 3 dresses. Here's $1,500.
That's
now
one of those things that, like, in the city, I still don't understand how it works. The amount of boutique places in Manhattan, with very little clothing, all very expensive. Like, how many pieces do you have to sell to make rent?
They got to be fronts. Either that or someone goes in there and they go, give me an entire wardrobe. You know what I mean? Like some of these rich women, they want a new wardrobe every season.
Like, and they probably, it's the type of people who probably don't even go there. Like, you send your, like, personal
shopper,
your stylist there.
You stay at home drunk?
Yeah.
Pounding wine. Shampooch.
He always thinks that if someone's rich, they just eat and drink really fast.
Yeah. He's just like in
sucking
pure
down Chardonnay by the bottle.
Decadence. You're just like, you just want to live like Dionysus. You're just like someone feeding you grapes.
Well, Melania Trump has said that she hasn't stepped out on the street in years. You know, once Donald started to fucking run and stuff. And yet they still want to keep their apartment in New York, and they just stay in that apartment. Like, you never seen, even for years, saw them like walking down the street or something, enjoying New York City. They don't enjoy New York City.
They actually like live in a tower where they look down upon the city.
In a glass tower.
Really strange.
The restaurants they go to are all like in that area. Like a couple
They're
blocks
all
away.
close and they're all old timey. Like the 21 Club. There's no one, let's say, under the age of 50.
Was that the place that he went and he didn't alert the media and everyone was really upset about it?
Yeah. But have you ever been to the 21 Club?
I've never been.
Just put in an image of the 21 Club for the front of it. You won't fucking believe how old school it is. They actually have the old jockeys, right? That they had to paint some of the faces white. Because it was an old thing where it used to just...
Oh, God. Yeah, I saw like some of the menu stuff that he was eating there, and like he was literally eating like an old school like wedge salad.
Yes.
I was like, wow.
And you get like a big shrimp cocktail stuck in the cocktail sauce. Like nothing has been updated ever.
And for dessert, a baked Alaska.
Yeah.
And they'll have a well done burger or steak. Well done. Fucking burnt.
Crispy. To kill the germs.
Bad for me.
Did you just say bad for me?
Germs are bad for you.
Rich in Philly.
Guy.
Rich.
I mean, really weird guy sometimes.
I know he is. He tries the tag thing in the most awkward way. Rich.
Hi, Team Bennington. I think that guy's wrong about Steve Keeley. I think he's going to get some heat. About 10 years back, they had an up-and-coming anchor, Karen Hepp. All she did was mention wife beater T-shirt, and she got fired. They brought her back, but she did get fired. So I think Keeley's going to get hit pretty hard.
I guess it'll be up to them what kind of heat they got because, you know, in the last 15 years or so, Philly has turned into a very gay town, a very gay-friendly town, and a lot of the people that opened up those great restaurants are gay. I mean, it is the city of brotherly love. Let's never forget that.
Makes sense.
So it's up to whether people complain. If no one complains, no one ever says anything.
Well, I don't know if you guys know, but like the gay community in Philly has been like it's on high alert because they had like they were accusing a couple of gay owners for racism. They weren't letting in their black patrons, so it's like really touchy right now in the gay community. So I think they're going to be outspoken about it.
All right, we'll see what happens.
I don't like that guy anyway.
I know. It seems like you got a personal beef. But I'm going to be honest here. Sounds like you got your own personal beef.
I'm not that way.
Here's what's funny, Rich. That he felt the need to do this joke in the middle of a blizzard. I mean, it had nothing.
It's really poor timing.
In most places, right, it's the mean news anchor fucking with the street guy. Not the street guy stopping the weather report to start making fun of the anchor.
I didn't even think of that. Like, in that alone, he's cucking the anchor in this moment.
He cucked him out.
And, that's not the way that dynamic works.
Not normally, but this guy doesn't seem like he's running an alpha dog fucking world.
I mean, look at the way
he just started doing it instead of saying, dude, just do the fucking weather. No one's asking you to come in with content. I just want you to show some snowy streets. It's always the dumbest thing they do in the news, right? Where they'll just go, let's send out to the streets and see what people think. And they're just like, well, what are you going to do? I'm out here shoveling right now. Like, we're all already in the snow. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
if I was in Florida, I might want to see how people are handling the snowy streets. But I'm in the snowy streets. I don't need to see how other people feel. Oh, same as me. Oh, it's hard to walk around in this, I hope they shovel it soon.
I love anytime they just have somebody who's like says something that it's just nothing. You're just like, real cold. Yeah, real cold. And you're like, why'd you use that clip?
I got home yesterday and we had about, I don't know, was it like 10 inches of snow or something?
Yeah.
But on my street, the apartment buildings had just put out trash like the night before. So then the trash trucks didn't come around. So you got piles of trash with piles of snow on it. And I'm walking, down the street with fucking snow and trash that's starting to come up on I start to feel claustrophobic. Like I can't, there's too much snow and trash out here.
You're living in a trash city.
So I started to write a poem called Snow Trash. It's pretty good.
That sounds good.
Pretty fucking good. Video that you put up, I didn't know lacrosse did this, baseball did it, the old hidden ball gimmick. Those kind of cheesy plays make you fucking hate everybody, but this was like the fact that he made is it a goal in this sport, Chris?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure.
Watch the hidden ball. So but just didn't even attempt to do it. So he acts like he's handing off. Now watch where he makes this from. And the goalie doesn't even fucking turn. He has no idea.
He's watching the other man.
He has to do it it looks like 35, 40 yards.
Yeah, it's still really.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like, even
if it was
you
an
did
open
fake
net,
it.
yeah, if it was an open net, it'd be amazing. But it's so funny that the goalie doesn't even turn.
I mean, it's almost as good as the annexation of Puerto Rico, pulled off by the Little Giants.
Well, that was a hell of a play, and quite frankly, wouldn't work. Someone is going to see the ball laying there. Dan Levy retweeted our announcement that we're playing Unmasked at 2 p.m. I like that kid a lot. And he's got a very, very funny show. Vito, are you the Batman guy?
Yeah, I mean, I love me some Batman.
All right, that's enough. That's done. We just when we were outside today, we made fun of you and said that we broke you from doing internet slang. And then you because we used to say, stop saying that something gave you the feels.
Yeah.
Stop saying someone just won the internet. And then you came back with love me some Batman.
No love me some ever. Please no love me some.
Strike that from everyone's vocabulary.
There was actually a joke in that Will Sasso short that reminded me of Vito because he had used an internet slang that I thought he made up because I was not hip to it, and then later had to find out everyone was saying it on the internet. Slide into them DMs. I thought that he made it up.
No.
So he would write that to people when he had to give out something from the Pretty Good Prize, like, hey, follow me back so I could slide into those DMs. I was like, that's hilarious.
Can I tell you something? Nothing this fucking carbon copy makes up is his own. He creates zero. He attempts to act like much thinner, dutier type people.
And do you know how dirty I felt that I had just laughed at just like an internet joke?
And I had to just ask you today from that, by the way, Will Sasso, this video, it's up on the iBank. To me, it's the funniest movie I saw this year. It's only 11 minutes, and it's better than any other movie I watched all year. I hope it wins the Oscar. But when I had to ask you what viral AF meant.
Yes, viral AF. Viral as fuck. AF is a internet term, but then he says it in real life. So he says to
he says
a group,
it IRL?
He said it IRL. He said AF IRL.
I didn't even know what that meant. Anyway, the Batman thing looks like it's coming apart at the seams, huh, Gail?
Yeah, it's falling apart. Affleck's not directing.
Originally was supposed to, yeah.
Yeah, he dropped out. And
he
now,
wrote the script, too, didn't he?
Yes, but now they're saying that they have taken the script and did like a page 1 rewrite. So he had co-written it with, I can't even remember who, but...
Jeff Johns?
Yeah, I think that's who it is. And they wrote it together, and now I don't think there's going to be anything all from their script.
When Batman and Superman came out, they made a big deal that Ben Affleck was rewriting on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
And they said it was funny to see him in the Batman outfit writing shit. So we act like he's saved, which, by the way, I watched Batman versus Superman, was that the name of it? And I'm like, I wouldn't brag about writing this terrible fucking piece of shit.
It was horrible.
But everyone went and said it was awesome. And then 2 months later, they said it was horrible.
They'll say that about this one.
I know. They'll write awesome, and then they'll go, you know what? That thing blew. And I go, all you guys got mad at me and called me pretentious when I said it blew from Jump Street. You can't fucking win with these guys because they have zero recollection of the things they said. Everything they say is awesome when it comes out, that it blows. Now I know they're all getting wired up about this Lego Batman movie.
Yeah, Lego Batman's supposed to be really big. I guess the first Lego movie was huge. I haven't seen any of them.
I'm going to stop you. I'm going to guess what he was saying. He goes, I guess the first summer movie was big. Is that what you said?
Lego movie.
Okay, Lego movie. Because I was thinking, was he saying summer?
Summer. In the summer.
Like he was having him a summer?
I feel like the Lego movies, they're cheating because they have all these other franchises inside the Lego movies. Like this isn't a Lego movie, it's fucking Batman. And that's what they're getting people to come in for.
No, it's Lego Batman.
No, come on. Do real Batman fans go to see a Lego Batman movie?
I'm sure they do.
Well, they're the same people, but they're not drawn in for it. You know what I mean? Like, they love playing with Legos, and then they watch cartoons about Legos. And children aren't doing this. These are adults.
So those aren't kids' movies? Those Lego movies aren't kids' movies?
Yeah, is any Pixar movie a kid's movie anymore? I don't think so. But Leslie, our friend, already wrote to me and said, I forget what it was. She was like, the Lego movie is the Lego she goes, I know you're not into it, but the Lego Batman will change your life if you let it. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Can't fucking sit there and watch Lego cartoons. I'm a Lego Batman. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm looking at.
Is he building things in this? Like,
I guess he's attaching himself to other things. I don't know what they do. I didn't watch the first Lego. And people would say, you got to see it. The first Lego movie. They're like, I cried so hard. I said, I'd cry hard if I was forced to go in and see it. I'd be fucking crying like the first day they tried to put me in school. I couldn't believe it. My first day in school is the way that people are taken to the electric chair. I was just like fighting it the whole way. No, motherfucker! I don't want to. And actually, even when I was a senior in high school, it was the same way. I just didn't want to be in there. I remember in fucking first grade, I couldn't believe all the fucking kids that we had, and only one old lady is talking the entire fucking day. If anyone talks besides her, she's pissed. And I believe there was 3 straight days that she talked about the letter B. And I was just like, holy shit. At least move on to C. I'm fucking going nuts here. I can't live like this.
People forget how bored you are.
Horror.
Like, so bored when you're a kid.
The fucking places my brain would go. You know what I mean? I would just be daydreaming constantly of, saving everyone from a fire, stopping a gunman, just what else could be happening that could add some action to this. And then, out of nowhere, she'd call on me and I'm like, my hand's not even raised. And I see like 8 other fucking hands up here.
No, you, the one who doesn't want to answer the question.
Why? This is the worst possible time to call on me. I'm literally deep into a fucking daydream right now. There's fucking bases loaded. Bottom of the 9th. I'm at bat with 2 outs. And you're asking me to fucking come up with the capital of Pennsylvania again? Look, here's the thing with us when we were little kids. and they fucking force this. You're in first or second grade. You're just spelling, right? They want us to spell Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Do you know how many fucking letters that is to a kid?
No. That's insane. That's too
I said to my mom, I go, if we don't move to Utah, I'm going to have to be taken out of school. This is fucking unbelievable what they're asking of us. I don't know if I can spell Philadelphia, Pennsylvania today. That's a long shit.
I actually have this memory in kindergarten where I can't remember, my teacher was going on about something, and I literally started to have a fantasy that I could play guitar really well, and then started to fantasize that I was just like shredding on the desk and everyone thought I was great. And I think about that sometimes. It's just like what a 5-year-old thinks is cool. Like, they're like, yeah, we didn't know you could shred like that. I'm like, wow. Class dismissed. Wow. Like, why would I think that was cool?
Hey, tonight on the Tonight Show, Kate Berlant and John Early are on the Tonight Show, and last night they did a pop in at the Stand to run their set.
Dude, that is so. I'm definitely gonna watch that tonight. I had so much fun when they were in.
Didn't Kate write something nice back to you, Chris?
Yes, she did.
You don't have to look it up. Just say yes, she did, and that's it.
She did. She said a very
Is
nice
there a
note back
quote
to her.
that you wanted to have? Is that it?
Just in case you wanted to go to the actual.
You're so.
This is real. A real conversation.
Can I tell you
Chris.
something? That typing, I'm not going to fucking say it yet because you've been on such a great thing lately and you're producing great.
Thank you.
Except for the beginning of you know what.
Yes.
But you're really typing a lot, dude.
Okay.
A real lot of typing.
I'm going to fade that.
Vito bought you that beautiful silent keyboard and he won't use it.
Why won't you use that keyboard?
It slows me down. It slows me down on the
But
keyboard.
it stops.
It's.
I'll be like this. Chris, how you doing today? Doing fine.
It's quiet as a mouse, Chris.
Do you notice our old intern doesn't even look and smile anymore?
I walked by him this morning. I was like, hey, dude, how's it going? He walked right by me. He stubbed me.
And there's Rob walking by from Rolling Stone.
I didn't see.
Yeah.
I need to start.
Chris, you
facing
get
this way.
fucking cucked by everybody.
Why'd he snub you?
No
you
idea.
guys have beef?
Guess we do.
He used Chris to get ahead in life.
He used me like a whore, like a dirty whore.
You're just being misogynistic now.
Come on.
You're a whore every time you go out for Tinder.
That's a good point.
I like this story. Tom Brady is charging $1,000 to sign a football for you. Kids, if you're sick and you need that football to keep you going, see if your parents can give you $1,000.
Holy shit!
Hey, a photo's only $850. A picture of Tom.
Who wants that though?
Mini helmet, $900.
What about a regular size helmet?
There's no price for that.
All right, give me all the prices.
All right,
$1,000 for a football, $900 for a mini helmet,
$850 for a photo, a Tom Brady, and this is in parentheses, game day style jersey, $1,200.
Look, that's not a bad bump up from the fucking mini helmet, and I got no use for a mini helmet.
For an old dirty jersey? I'll take that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so if you want him to...
How much for the old... It's his jersey from his game?
No.
A game day style.
All
So
right,
it'll
so
be
that's not the
It's
same
not
thing.
his
dirty
jersey.
jersey.
Why are you calling it a
No,
dirty
it's not
jersey?
dirty. It's
Oh, okay.
your own.
I understand now.
Why did you... That
don't
meant... A
understand.
dirty meant that he wore it.
Yeah.
And that
so
would
this
have some
is
value to a fan. But if he's just getting something from Dick's, who gives a fuck?
I see, but I read that as, like, they put, like, grass stains on it. It's like a game day style. Like, the style.
That's not what the style is.
I know.
It's this game day style is what he wears. You're not getting a fake thing.
All right.
You're so drunk.
I'm so...
You're a drunk alcoholic.
All right, if you want him to add the words 5X SB champ, that's an extra $400.
Jesus.
what? No, then I don't need that.
Here's what he's it's $500 for add personalization up to 20 characters. So if you want him to write Gail, $500. You can't go over,
Right.
You can't get him to write Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's more than 500.
So if you want a Tom Brady game day style jersey signed by Tom with 5X SB champ and personalized up to 20 characters, it's $2,100.
Now, remind me again, what is the difference in price between a football and a mini helmet?
$100.
Just go with the fucking football.
yeah.
What do
Maybe
you
some
want
people have a mini helmet collection.
Like, what's the mini helmet? That thing that you eat ice cream out of?
Yeah.
One of those little guys?
I mean, I want to eat ice cream out of a signed Tom Brady cup.
Don't
All right,
do
tell
that.
him this. Ask him how much it would say, Toby, good luck with your fight against disease. I think you can beat this big guy. How much is he going to charge me to help this little guy get better?
That's another $1,500. It counts as 3 person.
Well, that was supposed to go towards his medicine.
This is like medicine. This will make him feel better.
How much for him to say sorry about the homophobic joke? I know you were just wearing a pink shirt. Doesn't mean anything, though. It's just a color.
Well, that's like $3,000.
Worth it.
Because he's counting spaces as characters.
That's shitty. Because that
It's like a
causes
tweak,
him
Gail.
no extra effort.
Tell him whatever he charges me, I'm going to double on eBay. I'm trying to figure out this new Jay and Silent Bob film. So apparently Kevin can't make Clerks 3 or Mallrats 2 because he doesn't own the name.
Yeah, or anything with Dogma. He can't do any of those, no.
Now he can only make, but he owns Jay and Silent Bob.
Yes.
And what are they going to be doing?
So they're going to be making a new Jay and Silent Bob movie where they're trying to stop a reboot of the movie The Blunt Man and Chronic, like in the original Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Uh-huh.
They're going to be stopping a reboot of the Blunt Man and Chronic movie in Hollywood. And that'll be Jay and Silent Bob going to Hollywood to stop the reboot. That's the script he's working on now.
Why is he even working on a script? Why don't they just ad-lib it? When he goes out and does those speeches, people fall on the floor laughing. You know?
Yeah.
He's a very funny guy. Amy Poehler is teaming up with John Roberts. That's the My Son is Gay. My Son is Gay. He's
I love him.
And I believe that's who that is. No, I hope I'm not wrong about it. But for a series based on his life for home box office television.
And John Benjamin's going to be part of it as well.
Well, he does that show.
Yeah.
He is Linda from Bob's Burgers. So
Look at the tree.
We're just plugging the shit out of everything. Look at the tree.
Wow,
It's a
look at
nice
the tray.
It's
Oh,
a
I
nice
like that tray.
We got obsessed with that. I think you're the one who sent it to me
I
first.
did, and I always feel like I have to watch it around Christmas every year.
That's nice. It's like your little Christmas thing.
That's a good tray.
It's a good tray.
Pick that shit up.
Look at that tree. Artie Lang was on Late Night last night talking about him and Trump palling around just, 12 years ago. It was very, very funny. But Artie told me something before that he never states about him and Trump.
Really?
It's fucking really strange and funny. But I guess he doesn't want to say it now that he's the president or say it right at the right time.
Off air? Will you tell me?
Yeah, I'll definitely tell you.
Got the scoop.
And by the way, you're going to hate it. You're going to be sick to your stomach over.
Oh my God.
All right, let's break here, okay? Let's take a break. 2:00, Unmasked with Eugene Levy, Dan Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Annie Murphy. We'll be right back. This is Bennington. It's the Bennington Show. 5:00 today, right here on Raw Dog. Sebastian Maniscalco's podcast is going to be running.
The Pete and Sebastian Show, 5:00 today, Eastern.
Who's Pete?
Pete Corielli.
Oh, sweet.
Nice.
Now, is that a permanent thing, or are we running this for a little while, or what's happening?
Unknown if it's running for a little while as of right now.
You just making that up, or did you not have an answer?
Didn't have an answer.
Okay, that's fine. You could just say, boy, I haven't heard. I'll be as interested as anybody to hear that.
Is
All right,
it
so
call in? I'd like to call in.
He doesn't
a little
know.
Chipotle.
Chipotle.
Chop and check.
People love that guy. Unmasked today at 2:00, Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Annie Murphy, and Dan Levy. I call him Daniel because I like the name Daniel.
I like the name Daniel. Damn Daniel. You love him.
Daniel, my brother, you are older than me.
Solid. It was a great Unmasked. It was so much fun, and I'm sure you can hear me cackling in the background.
2 o'clock today, right here on Raw Dog.
So yesterday, I'm in the office with Vito. And I can't remember how, but for some reason, we started thinking about the line from True Romance where he's just like, no, you must have thought it was what boy did.
Because you guys are doing that almost every single day.
Right. So we realized that Vito didn't know that scene, so we wanted to play it for him.
Mm-hmm.
So we're playing it, and you know, like how the character Drexel, like with the dreads and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going, do you know who this is? Do you know what actor this is?
Yeah.
And then he responds, yeah, it's Commissioner Gordon. I'm just like,
holy shit, one of the greatest actors of his generation, and Vito only knows him from a shitty role.
He calls Gary Oldman Commissioner Gordon. And I was like, look, that's something that people do. Like,
right.
There are some actors out there in the world that you just call by their character, but Gary Oldman should not be that guy.
If you're going to pick best Gary Oldman, that's like his 23rd character.
It's insane. Like, of all, like, you can't really do that with an actor who's had like a massive career.
Well, I mean, you know, a lot of people just say Tony Soprano.
Right.
And people say, my favorite actor is Tony Soprano.
I mean, Tony
I don't care what
Soprano
anybody says.
Is good. Yeah. I have one that I do. I call Zooey Deschanel's sister Bones Deschanel. I can't remember what her name is. She's in Bones. She's just Bones Deschanel.
No, does everybody do this? Burt Reynolds, I just call him Stroker Ace. Well, you know, that Stroker Ace is good.
I can't stop myself from calling Danny McBride Kenny Powers. Like
that's
I don't know.
See, here's why, right? You didn't know Danny McBride before Kenny Powers, so you kind of get introduced to Kenny Powers.
Kenny Powers is one that is very tempting to do for that reason. And like, it just feels like him. Like, that just seems like his personality.
But no one ever calls Ricky Gervais, the guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ricky Gervais, even though the first time I saw him was The Office, I never even heard him speak as himself until like probably the end of that run in America. But why do we say Kenny Powers instead, though?
I know, because it's like, it's more common, I think, even with TV. Because, like, it's hard. Like, The Friends, I still will just be like, oh, yeah, that movie that Chandler's in. You know that?
I kind of do that with all the Friends, too. I didn't
Every
think
one of the Friends, I call by their character names.
And I still say Lurch. I mean, I've never even learned what Lurch's name is. All right, that's an actual... My biggest problem is that he called it by a character's name, but I'd be better off if he just called him Drexel. That wouldn't bother me.
Who or what is a Drexel?
Drexel's a new movie.
Hey, what's up, Lorenzo?
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, I make fun, now being older, 34, I make fun of kids doing that. But when I was a kid, like, I did that with Austin Powers, like with Michael Caine. I was like, oh, that's just Austin Powers' dad. And someone's like, that's Michael Caine, you fucking idiot. That's like a world-famous actor. I'm like, oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but, it happened when you were a kid. I'm going to give you a one-up there. Joey, what's up?
The new show, Sneaky Pete, on Amazon Prime, I've described it to everyone as starring Walter White, and everyone understands exactly what I mean.
Hold on, who's Sneaky Pete? What's going on there?
I've never seen Sneaky Pete.
I don't know what Sneaky Pete is.
I even called in a couple weeks ago and told you guys about it.
But you know what? I haven't got my Amazon Prime fixed up yet.
I'm going to set it up this weekend.
Yeah, look it up for your dad.
I'm going to set it up.
I don't know where it is. Is it? I thought it was in the toaster, and I just kept putting the thing down over and over.
Dad, no.
I took a speaking spell, and I just wrapped it around the toaster, and I just tried to get online with it. It didn't work.
I was also calling Javier Bardem Anton Chigurh for most of his career. I still kind of think of him just as Anton Chigurh.
I forgot the name Anton Chigurh because it's never used, right? It's rarely used in that movie,
They
right?
say like once or twice, if that. I think Woody Harrelson says it out loud. So is his name Anton Sugar?
I have a friend who calls Bruce Willis not even the character from the movie. He just calls him Die Hard.
You know what? I think I have called him Die Hard myself, though.
He's like, oh, did you see that movie Die Hard was in when he did this?
And his name, now here's the weird thing. Die Hard never even comes up in the movie, right? No one ever says that fucker is going to die hard. You know, like you think there is no reason to call that movie Die Hard.
It's actually a really silly title. Like,
No, it's ridiculous.
What does that even mean?
I guess he should have died easy early on, but he didn't. But he never died either.
No.
He lived hard, if anything. The same thing will happen with a band name. Like U2 is a ridiculous name. The Who is dumb. The Beatles. It's the Rolling Stones. These are terrible names.
The Beatles actually have the problem of the Oneaters or the Wanderers. Like, it's like you just spelled it like the beat. It's very confusing.
Here's Lewis. What's up?
I mean, I don't even know the guy's name, but I just refer to him as Ben Stiller's dad.
Jerry Stiller, the great Jerry Stiller, who had a long career before Ben Stiller was born. Sherman, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, you guys do it all the time now. It's Fonzie.
I never say Henry Winkler. Henry Winkler is not a very cool name.
No.
But the Fonz.
Fonz is cool. And again, I think even more so with television because it's episodic. You think of that person as that character.
A lot of people in my family just call Sylvester Stallone Rocky.
Right.
My dad was like, I saw another movie with Rocky in it. And in this one, he was shooting back again. And I'm like, then it's not Rocky. There's 6 different Rocky movies you could see.
One of the biggest ones is Kramer. Almost no one calls him Michael
Richards.
Richards.
Yeah.
Everyone just says Kramer.
I say Cosmo Kramer. I adapted his first name as well.
Like everyone's like, did you hear that thing that Kramer said? Really
Kramer's
upsetting.
kind of a racist. Kramer really turned out to be a racist at that show.
I mean, I thought he was a goofy, fun neighbor.
No one has seen him since that night.
I know. He did. Did he actually do a curb once or no? He never did.
You're right. He did a curb afterwards, and they did a little joke about it.
But that's the only time.
Yeah. And he knew that they were going to take care of him. But they did like a little joke. But I think he really is fucking crazy nuts. Jim, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, Benningtons?
Hey.
This guy, I think, has had a very long, distinguished career, but no matter what else he does, and he's great in Modern Family, to me, he'll always be Al Bundy, no matter what.
Yeah, he is on Modern Family now, and he should just be playing Al Bundy on it. He is actually a really good actor.
He is. I love him on that show.
I don't know. I think there was a shark that they all jumped over about 1.5 years, 2 years ago.
I have not watched. I watched maybe 2 episodes of the new season, and I fell off. And I was on a crazy kick because I was late in the game, and all I could do was catch up.
You got the binge.
And I just was every chance I got because there's always an episode on.
They all got to be too big of stars. And it becomes about some wacky thing, but they never used to do comedy first. It was always about a sweet thing of a family, and then there was some jokes in between. But now it's just crazy jokes, and it's like Family Guy. Like, I got a job as an astronaut this week. I mean, just, you're like, I don't know what they're fucking doing.
And the kids really do age out. Like, that is something that happens.
And then they added a new kid that's just like, if they're going to be a chant that I can go along with this.
Oh, Baby Joe.
On the last, Baby Joe took his mom's fucking thong and tried to give it to his teacher and couldn't understand why that was a bad thing. But you always give mommy thongs. He's like, I fuck your mom, hon. Rich, what's up?
Man, I think the ultimate one is Stifler.
I'll actually even say Stifler's mom.
Poor Stifler.
Don't know his name.
Kenny Powers. That was such a great fucking show.
Amazing.
They only did, 3 seasons?
I think there was 4.
All right, the first season, he comes home.
Second, Mexico.
And then the third season, he was a ball player.
Third season? No, he's in the minor leagues
in North Carolina. And that ends with him faking his own death.
That's the third season?
Well, you spent 2 seasons there, you saying?
No, I thought there was a season where he was in the majors, actually.
No, you're drunk.
He fakes his
He
death.
left as soon as he had a chance to go into the majors. So 3 seasons.
And then the fourth season where he went on the show with Camerino.
You're right. I forgot that season.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought those were in the same season.
No,
he had that whole season with Marino.
No, because I remember when he faked his death. I'm like, how are they ever going to come back from this?
Dude, I have one of the an actor who you call by character. You call Liev Schreiber Cotton. I've heard you say.
Oh yeah, I said it to him when he's in here. I go, Cotton, you got a new movie coming out. Well, here's the thing. He's one of the greatest fucking actors of his generation. Cotton was such a weird role. Mm-hmm. It's like nothing he's played since. And yet, I think of him as, I'm like, Cotton's a really fucking great actor. He told me he listens to the show all the time, too, in L.A.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, he just heard that Cotton thing because you fucking brought it up. Really, Andrew, what's up, buddy?
Hey, I call Aziz Ansari Treat Yourself because I can never remember his name.
All right, but there's no reason for that. I mean, that's just something that he said on the show.
I mean, Aziz is pretty easy to remember.
James, Minnesota.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I always call Mark Wahlberg Marky Mark forever. That's going to be him.
Yeah, I know that he doesn't like that, but it's hard not to say that.
Yeah, that one, he'll never really shake it, though. But that one gets him super pissed. He is not okay with being called Mark.
Still, he's fucking has incredible success. So what? He was in Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Yeah, now he's moved on.
Yeah, he's
like, would
over
you want
it.
him to be known as 9th grade Chris? Was you in 9th grade once? Court, California.
Hey, Ron.
Hey.
I actually got 2 real quick ones from Cheers. You got Frazier, Kelsey Grammer, and I don't know the guy, Norm. Whoever the guy, I don't know his name, but it's always, hey, that's Norm from Cheers, or Kelsey Grammer's the big one. It's Frazier.
Yeah, I don't know I forgot Norm's name. I used to know it. But,
George Wentz.
So one time, this is back when I was in Florida, we were supposed to do a phoner with him because he had a new TV show coming up. So he goes, hello. And we go like this, Norm! Like we were all excited to have him.
Uh-huh.
Click, he fucking hangs up. He's like, I don't give a fuck. Disney was running his deal at the time, gave him shit, and forced him to call back.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then we just did an awkward thing of, so you got a new, George, you got a new show coming out. And I don't give it, I mean, I get it, you know, but like we loved him as Norm and thought it would be a fun thing to yell Norm. Like we didn't like plan to yell Norm, we all just did it. And then he's just like, fuck this shit, I don't need this. And then he had to call back, look, I'm sorry, I was a little upset earlier. You know, I don't like to be called Norm. And we're like, oh, we didn't know. So you got a new show coming out.
That's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's a great show.
I know, like I didn't need him to get yelled at and called back. I had other things I could do. I don't want it to turn into a bad thing.
Get Norm back on the phone.
They're like, there's certain times that we'll do something and then somebody calls back and they have more and more things to. It makes, Chris mad. And I'm just like, I'd like this to be pleasant for all of us. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to not.
Right.
Life's too short. That was a fucking, that was a crazy day. Eric in Atlanta.
All right, I think I got the best ones, Bennington. McLovin from Superbad. I don't even know the guy's real name.
Well, he's on this new TV show, The Great Outdoors, right now.
Oh, yeah.
And he's nothing like McLovin.
He's of age. He can actually buy alcohol.
Yeah, but he's like, he plays a nerd on there. Do we got to plug that anymore for that town hall?
This will be the last day. Joel McHale Town Hall. That's happening next Friday, February 17th at 3 p.m. at the SiriusXM studios. Go to theinterrobang.com for a chance of free tickets. That's a week from today.
Nice.
John, what's up?
John, North Carolina?
Yeah.
Yeah. I still consider Sean Penn the Coley.
That makes zero sense.
Yeah, I'm going to put that in the Gary Oldman category. That's a weird one. When they have a huge career.
Great career. I mean, he's got 2 Oscars. 2 Oscars, which is, that's Tom Hanks has 2. It was very rare to get that second Oscar.
Like, in fact, I have the opposite thing. Like, sometimes I'll be like, I'll go, oh yeah, isn't that weird that he was Spicoli? Like, I don't look at Sean Penn and think Spicoli immediately.
No, when that movie started, I only thought him as Spicoli. I thought that was his actual personality. That's what a great fucking actor that he is. But I don't think of him as Spicoli now. I think of him as a guy that'll probably end up fucking knocking somebody out if they get their camera too close.
Yeah. Him, I would not do that. I would not go Spicoli.
Zach, Oklahoma City.
Hey, Crispin Glover will always forever be to me McFly.
McFly. See, I know him before then.
Yeah.
And he's so strange in real life.
Yeah, that's why I would say no to that one, because his own personality is so weird and so big to me.
And
that
Crispin Glover is also a perfect name for him and his personality, because it seems like it's from the 1800s. Glenn in Virginia Beach.
Hey, I've got 2. I can't believe that Fez is an NCIS agent. And then House.
House. Yeah, I call him House. But Fez from that show apparently is quite the coxman from that 70s show.
Really?
He's done incredibly well with Beautiful Women. Incredibly well. And I remember when that show came out, my friend Todd said, what if I start calling myself Fez? And I go, why would you do that? And he goes, it's such a great name. I can do something about it. Matter of fact, he called me last night, reminded me about Donnie Dumphy. Did you find out? You didn't get the email?
I didn't get the. I got it last night.
Yeah.
And I reached out to Donnie. Yes.
So what exactly happened? So you're not just telling half stories.
No, Donnie reached out to us because he just released a short film and he has new music coming out. And he wants to.
So Donnie Dumphy is the great. He's probably the greatest person from Nova Scotia.
Yes, absolutely.
But Fez, the guy who copied the name from that 70s show, told me that he watched that video and his real surname was showing up on mailboxes.
Are you kidding?
Well, it's not that big of a place, right? There's not a lot of people, and that's where his that's where his people come from. His parents used to go up there every summer to Nova Scotia. They drove from Florida past Nova Scotia to go to Newfoundland. And you got to eventually get on a fucking
holy shit
boat that takes you in your car. There's got to be a name for that. I can't think of it right now. Thank you. I thought it was just a boat car. Is what I was going to call it. Cargo boat car.
Why did that take them 2 months? That sounds insane. That journey.
Well, it beats, I guess, getting in a plane and being there safely within 4 hours. Dakota in Michigan.
Yes. Arnold will always be the Terminator.
I never call him that.
Yeah, I don't think that's one that I call.
Once you learn Schwarzenegger, you're going to try to use it, as much as you can.
It suits him.
I call him the Governor more than I call him the Terminator.
That's great, man.
Cool.
That
Did you come up with that?
It's like,
fucking great.
Because I was like, he was governor.
Mhm.
And then he was in that movie, The Terminator.
Right.
Put him together, Governor.
Why didn't you call him Governor and the Barbarian?
Fuck.
Was there any reason that I saw a thing with Keanu Reeves? He's got his new movie,
John Wick 2.
And it was on one of those, fucking mocking out videos that they run on the internet. And they claim that he's played somebody with the name John in 20 different films. He's always John.
I wonder why that would be the case.
I don't know. Maybe it's just like screenwriters, like easy, like John, whatever comes up fast. But the name John does get used a lot in action films.
Well, it's like a standard dude, but it's like a serious man's name. John.
I think you got out of your way to fucking help them. They're the ones that
name was John.
What's that?
My dad's name was John. He was not a serious man.
Okay, that doesn't. You're now taking this thing in a whole weird place. Your dad was a very serious man until you were born. That ruined everything.
Shit.
He had dreams.
He
had real dreams.
He was so clean cut before then.
Turner, what's up? Turner in Texas, we got you, buddy?
Oh, Curtis. No, the guy. No, my name is Curtis. Yeah, sorry.
That's funny, though.
Yeah, Danny DeVito. Me and my friends all watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and we just call him Frank.
Well, again, that came really towards the end of his career. He's done some, amazing stuff up to then, but he's phenomenal as Frank. And I understand he's not staying with the show. Someone said that everyone else took a 4-year deal. He took a 2-year deal. Did you guys go and watch that episode I told you about?
I didn't see it yet.
No, I've saved it though. I'm gonna watch it tonight.
Why do I tell you guys stuff if you're never gonna do it?
I'm
Why?
gonna watch it tonight.
You know what, Jen? You always watch something when I tell you to.
Yes, that's true.
You know why? You're a good student. These other two, I'm gonna have to send to summer radio school.
Look, I got Breathless to watch this weekend, and the last episode of Always Sunny.
Oh, you remembered.
Good student.
Brian, what's up?
Hey, Ron.
Yeah.
I still call Jeff Daniels the dude, even though I loved him in tons of things before it and tons of things after. He's still the dude. He'll always be the dude.
Yeah, not to me. I never play that. I know some people do. I know some people are that way. It never even occurred to me once.
People just got obsessed with that movie.
So
Too much.
obsessed. And it really ended up being his defining role, which is pretty strange. But that movie is one of those things where it's you get really into it and then you find out everyone's into it and you're like, forget it.
Well, sometimes I forget until I rewatch it what a great fucking movie that it is. Because so many dicks love it.
Right.
And, base their lives on it.
Dude abides, right?
Patrick, West Virginia.
Hey, the guy from Deliverance, the guy that got fucked in the ass. Oh, don't know him as any other thing but that guy.
That's the great Ned Beatty. He's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
But and also
he
that's
was in Network, and he was unbelievable in Network.
Also, that's an uncomfortable way to have to describe him every time. That guy who got fucked in the ass in Deliverance. It's it's not great.
Who did the bit with because John Voight and Burt Reynolds were in the movie, right? And he goes, out of everyone you're going to bang in the ass, you pick Ned Beatty? I got to think of who did it, because whoever it was, they went on and on with it. I'm going to... No, you can't look it up, Chris. You can't and tap your way out of this one. I just got to... It's got to dawn on me later. Tim in Cincinnati.
Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller.
What took
I
you so
have
long?
one that I know is completely wrong. I cannot look at Leo DiCaprio and not call him Gilbert Grape, even though he didn't even play Gilbert Grape.
No, he's not. He's not Gilbert. He's Arnie Grape.
Exactly.
Because he has to say, "It's the Burger Barn, Gilbert."
What was it?
It's the Burger Barn. It's the Burger Barn, Gilbert.
Is it Burger Barn?
The Burger Barn.
Dude, you just got another one. You just got the next one. That scene where he was still in the tub, that he never got out of the tub.
Oh my God.
That fucking killed me. That was amazing. I mean, that kid should have won an Oscar for that. You know what I mean? What were they waiting for?
To the point that most people thought he was actually a special needs kid who, for some reason, was able to act in this movie.
He somehow found this kid. Yeah, they gave it to him for The Revenant, which wasn't very good at all.
You loved it.
No, I did not. I saw it once.
You bring it up all the time, though.
Because people say it's so good, I gotta let them know it's not that good.
It was good enough. I liked it.
For an Oscar?
Look, just give the man his Oscar, all right? At this point, I didn't care. I was just happy he didn't get it for that one where he, snorts coke out of a girl's butt, whatever that movie
The Wolf
is.
of Wall Street.
Yeah, that's the one I'm like, I don't even want him to win for this.
I didn't even know he got nominated.
I think he was nominated. Not sure.
Joe in Chicago.
Yeah, I would say Chet from Weird Science. Until I called, I forgot it was Bill Paxton, but forever that, yeah.
Bill Paxton's got that new TV show on, too. I've watched the first 2 episodes.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I mean, because it's on regular TV, it's not as violent or dirty mouthed as I'm used to. And then I'm shocked by commercials. I got to remember to tape it so I can fast forward. But Bill Paxton is amazing all the time. But Chet was the first thing that I think we saw him do. And that was the douchiest fucking dead on asshole Big Brother role.
I know. And then to see him be like sweet or vulnerable or just like a nice guy and other things when
And
he's just
sometimes he's just like a silent killer. He's really a great actor.
dirty ash can.
The way he was wearing his underwear. It was so fucking gross. Gilbert Gottfried. That's who it was. Gilbert Gottfried. That is the person who told that deliverance joke. Yeah. Why? Out of everyone do you pick that baby? And this is a million years. I saw him do this and I was fucking crying. How did it not pop into my head when we were talking about Gilbert Grape? If I would have got to Gilbert.
Oh, Gilbert.
I would have been on my way. Did you get the thing that he wants to bring somebody in to fucking do the show with him again? Too much tuna.
Yes, I saw. I got the email.
He's all over me with it.
Okay.
This doesn't stop. It's exhausting. Maybe I'll bring him in to do your show, High Society. Why don't you ever have him on there?
I'll have Jeffrey Gurring on there.
How come you never have me on your show? Is there a reason?
Would you like to come in March?
What a wise ass.
I'm not being a wise ass.
Well, no, I'm not going to wait 6 weeks to do your fucking show. Fuck you. I'm never doing it now.
By the
and
way,
you never get to plug it.
I do like that you did refer to him by his character name, Too Much Tuna.
Well, I was trying to be part of it. You know, I was trying to all join in together. I thought we were all doing something. Hey, Craig and Madison.
Hello, Benningtons.
Hey.
The Kristen Stewart, my favorite vampire, right?
Mm-hmm.
No matter what she does, even on Saturday Night Live, you just see her as that Bella, don't you?
No, because I never was obsessed with those movies, and I'm totally digging her. I'm embraced my lesbian thing. It's very fucking sexy.
I'm very much into her new lesbian phase.
Yeah.
And I won't lie, I have seen every one of the Twilights. I'm not going to say I'm proud. I'm not proud that
I've
saw
seen
them
a
all.
couple, maybe the first two or so. I don't know how it ends though.
It's pretty silly.
Does it all work out well for everybody?
Kind of. It's
That's all I needed.
It's not without tragedy, but sure.
Who dies? The wolf boy?
No, he doesn't die, but he doesn't end up with her.
How could he? He's a fucking. He's not going to ever do it.
I was always on his team. I always liked him better.
Team Wolf Boy?
Yeah.
Was there ever a chance she'd be with Wolf Boy?
No.
No, right?
She flirted with the idea for a little while
Right.
because he was such a good protector.
But he never even as much as finger blasted her. I even wrote a script called The Finger Blasting. Brett, what's up?
Hey, guys. Hey, the number one of all time has to be Max Baer. He became Jethro so much that he couldn't even get another job.
He couldn't get another job because he wasn't a good actor. You know what I mean? Like, that didn't hold him back. He was... Oh, yes. He barely pulled off fucking Jethro.
I shouldn't have taken that role.
Brian, Louisiana.
Hey, Bennington. I got two of them from the same show, actually. And the first one is Lowell Mather from Wings, and the other one's Antonio. Even though Antonio went on to do more things, every time I see them, it's always Lowell and Antonio.
Guess what? If you would have asked me what their names were on there, I wouldn't.
I
now,
don't
you hung out with Lowell a little bit last year.
Yeah, on the set of Divorce.
Hmm. And then your last guest on Gail Meets Girls was a writer on the
Yeah, Marina Franklin is.
And she said she did 95% of the writing.
That's what she
said.
said.
The other people added some commas and a period, but it was all Marina Franklin.
But she crushed it.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know she was that good. There's something about her too, right?
Man,
a crazy little sexiness.
I adore her. Yeah,
Me too.
I loved hanging out with her.
Steve, Alabama.
Hey, first off, thanks for turning me on the search party. I'm 4 episodes in.
It's
really
fucking great, right?
And I was looking for a show to watch with my wife because we had different tastes, and let's watch this, and she's into it too, so it's perfect.
What are your taste differences?
She can't stand like I love Breaking Bad and weird shit, and she likes The New Girl and Jimmy Fallon. You know, she likes to laugh and
it's a hard thing,
upbeat stuff.
Yeah.
And then I like dark. Maybe not dark, but
yeah,
just
no,
like
I get it. I
intense
get it.
stuff.
You like boy stuff. She likes girl stuff. It's that simple.
But this is perfect. This is good for boys and girls.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's perfect. So thanks. And then I think I'll always refer to Tony Hale as Buster.
Yeah, I felt like that until we had him in, and now he's Tony Hale to me.
But then you do the impression of his mom calling him?
Oh, Buster. That's his lover, Lucille, too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I thought it was his mom, but it's not. Did you ever do that as your part of your things?
I did, yes. That is in the repertoire.
Because you got, Thanksgiving, you got to come up with 25 more.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I got one for you if you want to work on it.
Okay, great.
What you talk about, Willis?
Okay, I'll add that. Great.
I remember my parents would go like this to me sometimes. I don't think so, Tim. And I'm like, I didn't see the show. I don't watch the show.
I don't know.
They would do like catchphrases from stuff. But it really is funny when you're in a relationship and like you're trying to call your chick in to see something on Pardon the Interruption. You're like, hey, you fucking believe this?
Can you believe this shit?
And she's like, I don't know. We're going to eat soon or do you want to go out? It's up to you.
That's
National Pizza Day.
That's why I think that taste in movies and shows is way more difficult to deal with when you have differences than, say, music. Like movies, like you watch them together.
Yeah,
TV,
music could be just a personal thing.
That could be a personal thing. It's not great.
Not me. I still put on the old stereo. Everybody's hearing it at the same time. But yeah, when you don't want to go to a movie and the other person's like, I'm dying to see this movie.
It's not great. Particularly when you come home. And you're just like...
We got any odd stuff?
Yes, we do. I'll grab it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We're throwing it to break in a little bit anyway. Coming up is Unmasked with a very, very funny show, by the way. You got to watch the show, Schitt's Creek. Some of our favorite people are in it. Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Annie Murphy, and Dan Levy all will be doing this Unmasked. Dan Levy is Eugene's son, and they created this show together. But if you listen to them talk, it looks like Eugene is kind of backed off, and he's letting Dan run with this as far as running the writer's room and, scheduling. It looks like Eugene is just acting. I should have went into that a little more, but I thought it was kind of great that he was,
But it's such a great project that they collaborate on. It's such a funny show. The cast is really funny. Mm-hmm. And this Unmasked was, I was honestly starstruck sitting there.
Yes.
Honestly. I really was.
Yeah. I don't think Catherine O'Hara knows how much people love her.
I don't think that she was aware because you definitely were trying to make that sink in for her. But, I honestly was sitting there just like in awe, like somewhere between like feeling like I was going to crack up at everything she said to like almost teary eyed. Like, I can't believe she's here in this room.
Well, there's always a different kind of funny, right? When you see those two hilarious people, Eugene and Catherine aren't like big storytellers. They're not braggadocious. So when I heard, the whole cast might come by, I'm like, yeah, because I did an Unmasked with Eugene before. Mm-hmm. And you gotta, you get a lot of, because he's Canadian. He's not, and he works at his stuff before he brings it on. You know what I mean? He's just not a snappy guy. He works at comedy of finding the little things. And I think Catherine O'Hara is the same way.
Yeah.
So it was great to have all of them because where they work best is in counterpunching,
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was really, really funny to be watching Annie Murphy during this because, Dan created the show and grew up knowing all these people. But Annie Murphy is going and working with, the kind of comedy Olympian gods, right?
And it's so sweet. You really get the sense that like she gets it. You
She
know?
does get it.
And how like what it meant to her to be joining a cast with just like incredible comedy legends, people that she's loved since she was a kid. So I think that's so sweet. Like hearing about that from her perspective is so sweet.
All right, we're going to break and jump into this Unmasked. It is Eugene Levy, Dan Levy, the creators of Shit Creek. I actually thought I just said it wrong. And like, oh my God, what did I say? It's literally the way it's pronounced. So Eugene Levy, Dan Levy, Annie Murphy, and Catherine O'Hara coming up next on Unmasked. I hope you enjoy it.
Hey, please be seated. Be seated.
And you know, these are New Yorkers who are not easy to impress. Welcome, you guys, and congratulations. This is an amazing show. Does it feel that way to you guys? Is this the show that you wanted to make?
Love the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love the show, and this is the show we wanted to make. Exactly. I mean, it's surpassed the show we wanted to make.
That is like the luckiest thing that can happen in show business, though, right?
Yes, and work with fun people too.
Yeah.
Nice people. Really, to actually want to go to work.
To want to go to work. Yeah, nobody here understands that, that's for sure. But, you know, Daniel, this was your idea originally, or was it something that you and Eugene...
I mean, the sort of first seed of what the show was, I guess, was something that I had brought to my dad very early on, and that was essentially the premise of a wealthy family losing their money and what that would look like. And I think it sort of was a reaction to being so immersed at this point in reality TV and having sort of an intimacy level with the way that wealthy people live, whether we want to know it or not.
Right.
And playing on that sort of idea that we all have, that sort of intimate knowledge that we've all sort of been sort of slapped in the face with. What would that look like? What would one of these, you know, families look like if they didn't have the support and the bandage of money to sort of solve their problems?
Now, you have that original premise, and we could get that in the pilot, but something has kind of changed, I think, since you started, and that these guys are closer to being a real family than they ever were before. So what always happens with, I think, the best kind of comedy is there's something really real underneath it where you're rooting for these folks, you know, because I think at the pilot, you're like, good, look what happened to them. You know what I mean? They can't make it in our world. But after, I think you get to love these people as it's moving on. Is that done on purpose, or is that just the way the show's grown?
We can't help being loved.
Well, I think one of the big one of the issues in the very beginning was, how do you make unlikable people likable? I mean, this family on paper was not a likable family in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And you know, it and the show, outside of the you know, the fish out of water kind of scenario, is about a family learning to be a family when they weren't really a family in the beginning, when they had money. You know, they lived separate lives, and money solved all the issues. And now they live in 2 rooms in a motel with no money. So they are. I think one of the things that make you empathize with this family is you can see them trying to learn to be a family and discovering what it's like to be a family.
And that was a conscious choice from the very beginning. I remember even putting together our little presentation pilot, and you sort of brainstorm what that first peek into this world would look like. And I remember having conversations specifically about how we go about making these people likable, because without the heartbeat of the show, you're sort of left with an empty shell, and I think that goes for anything in terms of telling a story. You need to have something in there that people, whether they like the characters or not, or whether they respect them or not, they somehow feel a closeness to them. And that was something that we had, from the very beginning, been very conscious about. And I think, it's a compliment for you to have mentioned that, because I think it really could have gone both ways, but we tried our best to really, almost from the very beginning, to make that climb from a family that you don't want to side with to someone that to a group of people that you really want to cheer through the finish line. That was a conscious effort, and
a big factor as well in that is in the casting. The cast really came in and was the kind of the icing on the cake in terms of making that happen.
Well, when it comes to casting, it's pretty ridiculous when you put this show together. And you had never really done anything on this level before, right, Daniel? This was...
Oh, no.
He did nothing. He did nothing. Absolutely nothing. He came from nowhere.
So, you know that you're writing for these icons, these comedy icons. Was that pressure, or was it like, oh, I know we can, I know we'll at least, if even if I throw a bad pitch, they'll be able to hit it?
I think you have obviously the safety net of knowing that regardless of what you do, it's in very capable hands. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you want to impress and you want to tell your story in a way that is true and dimensional but the first season I was working very closely with my dad and our writers' room in terms of really crossing our T's and dotting our I's when it came to the storytelling and the characters, and trying our best to tell a story of this family that wasn't too zany, that was rooted in something real. Because as I've said it a couple times before, for me, from a writer's perspective, this is a story and a show about love, about what it looked like to this family in the beginning and what we hope it'll look like to them by the end. And it's about what the manifestation of love and interrelationships and how people perceive it or value it. And I think knowing that going into the show has sort of allowed for that to sort of, hopefully sort of ribbon its way through the series.
So, Catherine, when you first found out about this, right? TV, was that something you wanted to do at the time, or no?
I didn't want that long-term job.
Right.
You never know when you sign on for a television show. You don't know how long it'll go unless it's a limited run. And of course, I would wish the Levy family great success, more great success. But no, it wasn't. Look, you have to be. I've always thought you have to be really careful about who you sign up with, because you may be with them for life. You never know. And you have to trust who's writing it and what it's going to become and how it will grow and all of that. It's just there's so much unknown. You have a pilot, but beyond that, you don't know how much a network will be involved, how everything about it could change, and also I'm lazy, so I should have said that first. I lied. Okay, I'm just lazy. No, but then of course my dear friend Eugene, who I know is really smart and funny and talented, called me, and then we did this pilot presentation. That they made a short version of the pilot, or a short pilot, to sell the idea, and I said, okay, I'll be that, but I don't know beyond that, Eugene, come on. It'll be fun, because I hate to be left out of the fun, so yeah, I'll do that, but then we'll see. But it's just it's been so lovely all along. Everything about it, the writing is great to begin with, and then just honestly to be at work every day with these people is really nice. It's in Toronto, where I'm from. It's at a perfect time of year. We're on stage, and then we go on location in June, where everything's just fresh and green, like it is here in New York. Springtime is just the happiest time in the, and it's lovely. But I will say this about Canadians. I think Canadians do summer better than anyone else. When you're, and I used to vacation there was a kid, and if you go up to the cities, everybody is outside during the summer.
People are in shorts in April. If the sun is out, there will be someone in Canada wearing shorts.
And by the way, the shortest shorts that you'll ever see.
Just get some sun on those legs.
Annie, when you knew that you were hopping into the show and you're working with these folks, what did that feel like for you?
Felt like it wasn't real.
Yeah.
I had looked up to Catherine and Eugene so much growing up, and the Christopher Guest and Eugene movies were just like at the top of my list for comedies. So when I found out I got this part, it was pretty damn surreal. And my first day of work, I was just so caught up in getting the job, and oh my gosh, I'm going to be working with these people. But then the first day of work came, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to work with these people. Oh, I hadn't actually thought about that.
Yeah.
So I was the most terrified I've ever been in my life. And in my mind, I was like so nervous that I was trying to come up with excuses as to why I couldn't show up to work that day. And the only thing that I could think of was dentist appointment. I was like, that's not going to fly. But after we got the first few scenes out of the way, it was a beautiful, awesome, amazing walk in the park.
Are Eugene and Catherine, do you realize that funny people feel this way about you? I mean, I always think of the era that you guys first started in was the golden era for comedy. I mean, before you guys even got
to... the 30s?
Yes. I mean, when you were with that, I mean, just think of who your friends were, right?
Yeah.
Before SCTV and before Saturday Night Live, these were your friends. It's an amazing amount of people.
Pretty nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure people who are just starting now would say now's the golden age. Now you can go online, you can have your own website, you could get your comedy out there.
Yeah.
You know, there's just so many ways to express your talent now. So.
But there was a good bunch of people coming out.
Sorry, okay, let's go back to the question.
Who was the crowd when you guys were?
Well, we all started. We all started at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Marty Short and I are old friends. We went to school together. John Candy started in our company. Dan Aykroyd.
And you had the whole Godspell crowd before that. At Gilda
Well,
Radner.
we had in our
Victor
Toronto
Garber.
production of Godspell, Andrea Martin and Gilda Radner and Paul Schaefer and was our musical director, Victor Garber. It was a good group, and then we moved on to Second City,
Dan Aykroyd
theater, where we met Dan Aykroyd and John Candy and Joe Flaherty and the great bunch there. So it was kind of an explosion of comedy talent back then. We didn't realize. I mean, it wasn't. We didn't see it as an explosion. We just thought, oh boy, nice job. We're getting a steady check. But yeah, it was a pretty exciting time.
Because that's I mean, comedy wise, that's like saying London in the '60s for rock and roll. You know what I mean? Like the amount of people that came out of there, and the fact that so many improv groups are still building themselves on everything that you guys did, and I talk to people all the time.
Yeah,
and it's stunning to think if any one of you would have went on and had the career that you did, people would be talking. But the fact that almost everybody went on and had a career,
very fortunate.
Yeah.
We're there at the right time.
No
I guess.
wood here, but
I would say too. I think we were really lucky to work, or at least I was and still am really lucky to work with really talented people, because I think you learn from each other.
Yeah.
I felt like I've just been, I didn't go to university, so I went to the School of Comedy, and I got into Second City Theater right after high school, and I think everything I learned in that way, outside of any talent my mom and dad gave me, was from these people. And if you continue to, instead of competing and wanting to be the headliner, I'd say surround yourself with people you think are better than you. You're just going to learn and have such a better time.
But that was a key thing too. I'll just add that the Second City, being in the Second City, which was the greatest comedy school ever, and we were so fortunate that Second City opened a branch in Toronto in 1973. It was an amazing kind of learning experience for comedy, the do's and don'ts of comedy. And it's scary to think if we hadn't gotten into Second City where we would be, because those were the comedy guidelines and the golden rules that we grew up with in Second City and carried with us to this day.
Well, everybody now thinks of it as, oh, that is a school, that's a springboard. But for you guys, you had no idea that, oh, this is going to lead on to the fact that both of you have worked pretty steady for, 40 years since then,
Wow. Yeah. Very lucky.
Even though some people don't want to work steady.
I like working once in a while.
Just every once in a while.
Well,
Come out,
yeah, why
crush
not?
it.
If you can earn a living doing that, being home the rest of the time, sure.
But that had to be remarkable when you started to find out, oh, this leads to something,
Yeah, when we were in it, it didn't lead. We weren't
Yeah.
thinking that way. It's become kind of a platform for people and, what do you call it? Bouncing off, whatever. But
springboard.
Yeah, springboard. Thank you.
Yeah.
A thing you bounce on. There it is. It became that. We're like, oh, if I do that, then somebody's going to see me and I'll do that. At the time, we hate to sound naive, but it really was just kind of entertaining ourselves.
Yeah.
And that
The
audience
only
for that night.
thing we knew was that it was great, that it was really smart.
Yeah.
The comedy was really smart, and you really had to. Well, that was one of the golden rules. Always play everything at the top of your intelligence level. Doesn't matter what it is.
Assume the audience knows more than
It
you
doesn't
do on
matter
the
how
subject.
dumb a character you're playing. Play it smart.
Yeah.
So I mean that was, we knew at the time it was exciting. And this was exciting to perform, and it was exciting to see as an audience member as well. So, but whether it led to anything, it led to, you're getting paid the next week.
Yeah, we didn't even care at that point.
Yeah.
Daniel, when you're growing up, when did it occur to you that your dad and his friends and coworkers were known by everybody?
Late.
Yeah.
I think the remarkable thing about this sort of group of people is that there doesn't seem to be any change. Granted, from what I've noticed, it just feels like they all sort of grew together, and I think maybe because of that, there was no holes for the fame light to affect the way that people are or act. So I think because everyone's so humble to almost to a fault, you think it's not famous people. It's not people who, have these big followings. It's essentially extended family, really, and they're people who have always been around.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like any of you guys have the personality to let me come in and light up a room. Well, other than Marty Short, but
and Andrea
loves that too.
Yeah.
But it was. Well, I just think of how he enters a room.
You're right. And at home.
It's called the Look at Me gene.
But there's a little more of a thoughtfulness, certainly in the way that Eugene acts and writes. It seems like it's a slow burn with you to find out where these characters are at. You don't seem to be in that big hurry.
I'm never in a big hurry in life. No, I think I've always been kind of more a reactive, comedian, so it doesn't lend itself to doing major big things. You know what I mean? I love reacting off other people. So that automatically puts you in a more passive, laid-back position.
Passive aggressive.
Some might call it.
Well, Annie, you brought this up earlier about the films that they've all done with Christopher Guest directing, that the reason why I think that you could watch them so many times is that you watch the people that aren't talking the second, third, and 40th time that you watch it. There's always something to catch in those films.
There's so much going on. Yeah, I actually just rewatched Waiting for Guffman this past weekend and played over and over and over the scene where you two are in the Chinese restaurant. And Catherine has had 17 bottles of wine. And it's one of... We just actually watched it last night, too. It's such a beautifully done scene that's become a classic. People are...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the first time that I identified... this is going to come out wrong, but it's intended with love. But that my dad was doing something very cool. Because SCTV was something that I, grew up with, but it wasn't something that friends of mine in high school, their parents were really into it, but my friends weren't necessarily as versed in that world. So when Waiting for Guffman came out, and I was in high school and like in a film club, it was a big deal. It really like hit with a bang, and though it still reverberates. Anyone you talk to about those movies, it all sort of trickles back to Waiting for Guffman and just what it was, and we had never seen anything like it.
May I please take advantage of the fact that we have microphones and say, I looked at that scene, sorry, I did admit it, on YouTube, the drunken Chinese restaurant. And one of the comments was, I know somebody on the crew and she was really drunk. And that's a lie, okay? It's a lie. That's terrible.
Yeah. Normally, someone with the last name O'Hara doesn't fake being drunk, though.
Yes. Well, you have to. When you have to do a scene a few times, and you have to actually be at work. No, you don't drink.
Well, you know what's interesting too is John Hempel, who was on your show.
Great.
I always remember him as the drunk guy.
Happy was it?
Yeah.
Happy Marsden?
Yeah, who was never really happy. He was always at the end of a dive bar. It was so pathetic, but it was one of the funniest things I ever saw in my life.
He's great. John's great.
Yeah, and that's the magic of this show is that, you know, when you look at the fact that you guys have Chris Elliott on the show, too, who, by the way, does like to enter a room big. But truly one of the funniest people in the world, and also from a hilarious family.
Yeah.
You know, which is an amazing thing when I think about it, that you guys get to do this as a family. Chris has spent his life with his kids are funny. His dad is funny, and all three generations funny in a different way.
Yeah.
You know, it's really, really strange.
Chris has just had such an way offbeat sense of comedy about him.
Yes.
And I loved him the first time I saw him on Letterman going back years, way back. And I couldn't put my finger on why I was laughing. I mean, I kept thinking, why am I laughing? You know, he'd come on, he'd be introduced as Letterman would introduce, ladies and gentlemen, on the show tonight, Marlon Brando. Please welcome Marlon Brando. And then Chris would come out and in his own clothes and basically just do Marlon Brando from The Godfather. Just start doing Marlon. And you're going and saying, why am I laughing? He does have my number on the show too. It makes me laugh quite a bit. I mean, it's not the most professional thing in the world to constantly be laughing on camera, but he's got my number. He's insanely funny.
And that's part of the fun, I guess, of doing the show, is that you don't know what direction anybody's. I mean, when you write this, Daniel, you don't know what Catherine's going to do with that.
No, and oftentimes our whole room we'll come up with a scenario that we think is quite funny, and then part of us will go like, and then what's Catherine gonna do? What's she gonna do with this? Or like, we can take it this far, but like, let's just leave a bit for Catherine to sort of, because we know that she'll run with it. Yeah. And we just had an episode from our third season that just aired, where the characters of Johnny and Moira go to find a car. Yeah. And these are very wealthy, or formerly wealthy people who felt like if we dressed down, we might get a better deal on the used car. And so we wrote that thing thinking that the scenario, the situation is very funny. And then at the table, Catherine unleashes this Cockney accent. At first, I remember glancing at the page, being like, "Where was this? Oh no, this is," and that's how this is going to go. And it was, you realize that it's the greatest thing for us as writers is the collaborative process of all of this, and knowing that our cast is going to take, the guidelines, the outlines, the lines that we write, and elevate it to a level that we could never even compete with.
Yes, Catherine has a habit of doing.
Right.
That, and it's funny you were mentioning the scene in the Chinese restaurant from Waiting for Guffman. Well, with those movies, there's nothing is rehearsed. Of course, you're doing it for the first time on camera. And
didn't have a date until a couple weeks before, wasn't it? Fred Willard that said, "Hey, maybe those two couples should go on a double date."
yeah, I think that's how that scene worked itself in the movie. That maybe they should get together to try and get to know each other before they get involved in this play. But that when we started that scene, and Catherine started the scene so drunk, if you look at the scene again, you'll find that I spend a lot of time looking at my food. Because I was just insanely afraid that I would, if I started to laugh, I wouldn't be able to stop, and I was petrified. So I just kept looking at my food and keeping my head down.
Yeah, you had to find a way not to show. If you were laughing in those scenes, you crawled out of a scene once. In the dinner scene, the dinner scene, I go down like I had to pick something up off the floor, and I was just laughing. I had to get you just have to express something. So it's just like, yeah, that physical. So dip down under the table, come back up.
Yeah, I had to get down on my hands and knees actually in a group scene.
Yeah,
and just disappear. And crawled off the set so that the scene could keep going, but maybe nobody would miss me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be laughing. They'd cut, and then you'd have to start again.
Well,
anyway,
the training that you guys had of always being supportive of each other, and then you have Fred Willard, who doesn't even seem like he's in the scene with anyone else.
He's in the same world.
Yes, he really is. And to just stick him in with you guys, it's always hilarious.
Oh, Best in Show was on the other night.
Yeah.
It's not on TV. Oh my Lord, all his stuff this is a commentator. And Jim was great too with him. Jim played straight, dignified Englishman, having to react to everything. He went after her like she was made of ham. So funny.
Oddly enough, when we started talking about the dog show scenario, and Chris pitched the idea of a dog show, I said, "Oh, that's really interesting, really interesting, really interesting. Okay. Now, what do we do with the third act?" He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, we're building to a dog show. You can't make that funny. It's got to be real. You can't, otherwise there's no reality to the thing. How do we make it funny?" And we couldn't crack that until we realized, well, what if we make Fred the commentator? Then you can keep the dog show as straight as you want to keep it, and just let him go.
Yeah,
that's great.
Very helpful if someone's walking a dog with 2 left feet as well.
Well, throw in a little seasoning here and there. Yeah.
But that is the thing that you and Chris put together the premises a lot, but you don't know what is going to work and what isn't at any given time, right?
No, all we do is lay out the storylines in every scene. We just basically, all the information and exposition that has to come out in every scene has to come out. Otherwise, the story's going to be shapeless. I mean, so that has to move. But how people say it, how people get this information out, is entirely up to the people. And then over and above that, things get added that are just make it explode. Yeah.
And you shoot about 90 hours. You did.
Yeah.
No, really.
Shooting.
Didn't you shoot 90 hours and it's cut down to 97 minutes or something?
Like that, yeah.
So have you ever been disappointed where, I thought,
they used that take?
Yeah, right.
With those movies?
Yeah.
No, I've always felt really well taken care of in those movies, yeah.
But I also think of how many great actors would be terrified to be thrown into that,
You are, but you aren't. I remember the first one I did was Waiting for Guffman, and I showed up the night before in Austin and met with Chris, and Chris said, I just want to tell you one thing. They'd already shot for a few days. Don't try to be funny. Really? He said, all you have to do, and I don't know how much I was going to push anyway, but he said, all you have to do is be there, and it's really, everybody brings their characters so completely, so strongly. At the same time, you find out who you are when you start being treated by other characters, right?
Yeah.
The way people treat you, they've sort of made decisions about their relationship with you and everything. It's sort of the magic of it. You and the job of it is you have to show up with something to offer, but be willing to lose it right away, right? Because you can't hang on to an idea. People are going somewhere else. So you really do learn from each other. But yeah, you just sort of bring your character, as much as you've developed, to the scene, and there's so much support from everyone else.
Yeah, just keep it real. Keep it real. It's character comedy. It's just let the comedy come through the character, but keep everything grounded. Keep the character grounded, and that's exactly what Dan, the sensibility that you had in mind when you pitched the original idea. Right, was this same kind of sensibility, was to keep everything grounded.
The riches to rags premise had been sort of played out in a very broad way in movies and sitcoms, but we'd never actually seen it sort of through the lens of that specific kind of comedy. And that's what sort of interested me, and why I sort of went to my dad and said, would this be something you're interested in collaborating on? And one thing led to another, and now we're here. So it's but it's been a masterclass in terms of
was
comedy
that
education.
Was that initial pitch a tough one for you? In case,
no, no. He's a very lovely man, so I didn't fear. I didn't fear the rejection. Yeah, but I did know that he's selective about what he does, and he would be very honest with me in terms of whether he thought the idea had legs or whether it was something he was interested in working on. So fortunately, there was something about it that engaged us both, and then I think once we started to work on it, it just sort of unfolded and continued to unfold, and then again, you get to a casting point, and to me, that's when everything sort of broke open.
Well, when you say that he's a lovely man, it shows in this character, and I think that's what works about the show. The scene where he walks in and you're with somebody that you had just had sex with, and he's in a towel, and Eugene says, "Sorry, I didn't want to walk in on an afternoon delight," if they're still calling it that. And I fell off the chair because they never called it that, even when there was a show and a song named that. No one actually ever said that on the stage, but it was such an odd, dry thing that I had to hit pause on the TV and catch my breath. It was just those type of things is what keeps happening in the show over and over. And do you know that that's going to be that funny, Eugene? I mean, do you work on that a while? Or?
I never know anything's going to be funny when I'm doing it. It's just a roll of the dice. Yeah, it all feels good on the floor. Obviously, this when the scripts come in, you look at the scripts. I mean, I even from the outlines and things, it just keeps getting better. You know the stories are stronger, and the longer the series goes, where now everything just settles. That's what I think is really great about it. Once the kind of the exposition of what the show is about is out of the way, which you have to play into in your first season. You have to let everybody, the new people in town, the fish out of water scenario. And now that they're there, the stories just kind of settle more into character, and then the character work becomes kind of, richer, and you can kind of see it on the page. Mm-hmm. And certainly when you're on the floor, by the time you're on the floor, it's just kind of, it's just fun to do. I don't think there's a scene that we've done on the show that is not a fun scene to do. I mean, everything is just fun. It's got a great vibe on the floor. It's just got it's a great working space.
And that's sort of how we approach it in the room too. You'll sort of beat out an episode, and you'll get to a beat, and we often talk it through. And if it doesn't feel like, oh, this is going to be fun, then we have to figure out what's missing, because every scene has to have a tension to it that excites the actor and adds a level of comedy that is just inherent to the scenario or the situation, so that the actors don't have to work as hard ultimately, because if you have the right characters in the right situations, you've sort of built a comedic element without having to say anything at all. So for us, that's a really important thing when we're beating out the shows, is just making sure that every scene that the actors are excited to sort of, oh, this will be this is funny, this is a nice in for me, or it's.
I think at this point the writers know our voices so well that they're kind of writing in anticipation of how we're going to perform it and act it out.
Well, Annie, you and Dan have this thing that feels so real to me because they're torturing each other, but yet you would kill for that person, and it's never as blunt as saying that, but you can feel it. And there was a scene this year where he let on about how worried he was about some of the things, and that slayed me because I've been in that conversation with my family years after the point.
Yeah.
Is that something that you slowly bring together, or do you know that you got to do that? You have to have that connection with him early on.
Well, I think with David and Alexis's characters, I think that they really only had each other growing up, and even then they
didn't.
They didn't.
Right. Yeah.
And I think they've always kind of depended on each other in some way, but now living within 10 feet of each other, it's kind of hard to deny each other's presence, and they're put into these positions now that they really do need to rely on each other more. And it helps so much that Dan and I have such a bizarro connection. Like when I met Dan, it felt like I'd known him for far too long already. And we're really good at pushing each other's buttons in real life and on screen. So it's been an amazing opportunity working.
It started with the casting too, because Annie was hired, and I wanted to tell her myself. I didn't want our team to tell her. So
it's the rudest thing.
And I thought, if she can get through this, like we're gonna be in a good place. So I called and I didn't get her, and I left a message on her answering machine that just said, "Hi Annie, this is Dan calling from the show. Give me a call back when you can. Anyway, really happy that you came out today."
Okay, but I have to say that I had been waiting. I'd had multiple auditions, and I tested for a couple of roles, and I'd been waiting literally by the phone for 2.5 weeks, and I told myself, usually if you don't hear after a week, it's just not a thing anymore. So I told myself, okay, you didn't get the part. If you do hear from anybody, it's going to be to say thank you so much for your time.
I left the most somber message on her answering machine.
He said exactly what I was dreading to hear.
Thank you so much for coming in.
We loved your work.
Meant a lot.
And then just silence for about 3.5 days. And then he finally said, oh, just one quick thing before.
No, you called me back.
No, I know. Okay, we're on the phone now.
Okay, yeah, we're on the phone.
We're on the phone. Wait, were you on the phone? We're on the phone. So there's a giant pause, and he goes, "Oh, one quick question before I let you go." And I was like trying to find the words without bursting into tears and to thank him and sound like a normal human being. And he was like, "How would you like to play my sister on the show?" And I was so angry, but it was the happiest I maybe have ever been.
So it started from the get-go.
Yeah, there was no reason to do that to someone.
I thought it would be funny, and then all of my actor friends later were like, that's actually the worst thing you could do to a person. And I was like, but she was getting the job. It would all be worth it in the end.
That's method acting. You
Absolutely.
both character from
right
the
out of the
beginning.
gates.
But these two characters have had some of the sweetest moments on the show, ever. This season, I think the show that just aired last week, when you were saying how worried you were.
That's what we were just talking
right.
about.
And Alexis, that's right. And your reaction is just one of the most heart-wrenching reactions that I've ever seen. It was so perfect. It was just kind of turning away with a little smile, hearing that your brother was worried about you, and it just melted your heart, you know?
And you love that kind of subtlety anyway, right? That's...
I love being able to, which is one of the great things about this show as well, is being able to take your comedy to places that you think, should I dare take it there? In other words, when everything is so grounded in truth, you can be funny, But if the audience is involved with the characters, you can go to these more sensitive kind of areas and emotional areas, and the audience will go with you and love going there.
Yeah.
You know? And that's the kind of comedy that I actually, love doing. I mean, we had, again, like A Mighty Wind, going back to A Mighty Wind, is when we realized, Chris and I realized that this relationship with Mitch and Mickey, these two folk singers, the sweethearts of the folk music era, they kissed at the end of a song, and that was their big hit. Would they kiss when they after their horrible breakup and coming back for a reunion? It looked like this was going to be the storyline, and we thought, oh my God, really? If this is the storyline and it all builds up to do they kiss at the end of the movie, if that doesn't work, we're dead in the water. And yet we both felt a tug to, this has to be the story. We have to go with it and take the chance. So that's the kind of comedy that I absolutely love, and I know Dan loves too, and that's what we're trying to do on the show, is just make this a lovely journey for the audience.
There's always a laugh in there too, which is good.
Always.
Yeah.
You're saying comedy. That is the kind of
No,
comedy.
I know.
Because you gotta find an organic, heartfelt reason for laughing at that
That's right.
poignancy.
Absolutely.
Which you do so well, Eugene.
Do you guys remember the moment that you met each other when you guys were younger, or?
I must have. It must be Godspell.
Godspell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My brother was dating Gilda Radner, God bless her, and Gilda got us Robin Duke and I. Robin Duke, who was in Second City and Saturday Night Live. We've known each other since grade 9, as we say in Canada, as opposed to 9th grade.
Yeah.
So Gilda got Robin and me tickets for Godspell, and then we got to hang out with the cast afterwards, which was just the coolest thing in the world. We're just staring at them and kissing their pictures in the program, I'm sure that must be the first time. You wouldn't have seen me, but I was staring at you.
I just remember it was Marcus's sister.
Yeah.
That was there, right? That was that. And then just a year later, yes.
Yeah, you were in the cast of Second City.
Right.
And I was a waitress.
And you were a waitress at Second City, and then shortly after that, got into the company. Yes. And replaced Gilda.
Replaced Gilda Radner in your... but you're in your teens right at the time, right?
Yeah.
You're like 18, 19?
19, yeah. I know, really. You can't get in off the street like that anymore in Second City.
No.
You have to go through all those classes.
Yeah.
Now you can just hey, can I try?
Yeah. Can I pay you to be there?
Yeah.
But that's what I went back, I was thinking about earlier, when you just look at the people there, it's just crazy to this day when you just think of how many folks came out of that one. I mean, really, the two shows, SCTV and Saturday Night Live, were just filled with your friends.
Yeah, Saturday Night Live was a lot of Second City people.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
There wouldn't have been an SCTV if there hadn't been a Saturday Night Live, because the Bernie Solins, who owned Second City, he thought that the Second City people were kind of being sucked out for this new hot show, because Saturday Night Live was primarily Second City and National Lampoon, right?
Yeah.
The creative force behind that initially. So he thought, well, we're going to keep losing our Second City people to Saturday Night Live. Why don't we have our own show? And that's how we got together and started SCTV.
And you guys were all young and had an amazing amount of creative control there too, right?
Yeah.
On SCTV?
Yeah.
Oh, total creative control. Yes, the inmates were running the asylum.
That's why it's hard to go and do other jobs after that kind of upbringing in comedy. Yeah, where you have that kind of where they actually want to hear your opinion about what song to add to the scene. We'd be involved in editing and all the post work, and it was so spoiled us.
Yeah, and that ran for what, 4, 5, 6, 7 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On and off,
yeah.
3, off 1 year.
Yeah. And go back and watch any of those sketches, and they really hold up. And, I always think of that, too, is like you guys, but you came right behind the Pythons, So there was this amazing amount of comedy that was really changing the way comedy was done.
When you saw pythons, did you feel like you discovered them?
I did.
Me too.
And here I saw it on PBS.
Yeah.
I mean, you go out of your way that you're watching public television, and then you would have certain friends that would watch it together. And it was at the exact same time where I was going, oh, so this is marijuana. So it just felt like the world had changed.
Yeah.
You know?
They're great.
But like you said, things like that could happen. But there's tremendous things like happening. But most of the time, I think young people look at you guys and that era as a real starting block. You know, I don't think they go back further. I think you guys really were, you know, the British invasion to them.
Yeah, it was an amazing show. It really was. It was a really funny show. Second City, based on kind of Second City comedy, but also character comedy. It wasn't just sketches. We committed to the characters in a very big way, and that gave it a little extra, you know, kind of depth. You could kind of run a storyline with your station characters, so to speak, and it all kind of made sense on that level, but it was the kind of thing other people weren't really doing.
This is something that Eugene kind of woke me up to, because I remember being a kid, and if you were on Match Game or you were Marlon Brando, you were the exact same thing. You know what I mean?
Match Game.
Yeah.
Richard Dawson.
And then when you did Bobby Bittman, I was like, oh, so some of these comedians aren't funny. And it was really like a first wake-up call to me, like, okay, you got to be a little more discerning.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was great. That was the fun thing about doing Bobby Bittman. He's a stand-up comedian that just was not funny at all. Not one of his jokes were funny. Not one thing was funny. You know, he was so delusional.
The giant prop phone,
and so unfunny, so unfunny.
What's your special called? The Bobby Bitt. That's the special you did.
Oh, when he did his when he did, I did a thing in the I can't remember when, 84, 87, the half-hour biography of that character Bobby Bittman, called The Enigma of Bobby Bittman, and one of the shows is when he had his own sitcom, and it was called Over My Dad Bobby.
Great.
Yeah.
I just always remember the giant prop phone, and he would just go, hello. Like, that was the beginning and end of the joke. Look at the size of this
hello.
Slayed me.
Did you ever see Rick Moranis do his brother Skip?
Yeah.
Who was even less funny?
Yeah. Yes.
Skip Bittman.
Wow.
So, Dan, this is the type of thing that this is your show, is built on that kind of comedy yourself, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a collaborative show that it's hard. I mean, we created it, sure, but I do feel like there is a sense, I think, with everyone, that everyone has a stake in it, and that everyone is involved in a very personal and intimate way. And I think for us, that's the magic of the show, is waiting to see what Catherine does, and waiting to see how Annie can take something that is on paper so surface and so expected, and make this socialite daughter someone we've never seen before on television. So for us, allowing that kind of freedom for our cast to leave their mark on these characters, and, you know, we welcome any and all input, and a lot of times, most of the time, your cast will have a better sense of, if you cast it properly, of your characters than you will as a writer. So it's, for us, it's a constantly evolving education in terms of writing a show, because you're thinking in the back of your mind, okay, I know that Catherine knows that the character of Moira will never want to stay in this town. So the challenge becomes, how do we write these stories so that the character never wants to leave but also has to stay? or has to get involved in something that she would normally never get involved with. And I think as a writer, it is a huge education, writing for people, knowing in the back of your mind sort of what their expectations are of the character and trying to live up to them ultimately. And it really has challenged us as a room to, I think, take the show and take everyone's characters in a bunch of different directions that we normally might not have, just because I think you can get lazy at times and think, well, let's just do this. But the reality is, no. You've got to stay true to who these people are, and even so, there's changes and notes and things that only make everything we do better. So,
and it has to stay somewhat awkward with them. There's an awkward thing that always.
Because they're still, as close as they're becoming, they're still very disjointed, which is, I think, why we can get away with these tender moments. Because, you've created a family that really knows nothing about one another. So anytime that there's any kind of intimacy, the audience will go, oh my God, that's really sweet. They said, I love you to each other for the first time. And that, I think, has been it's been a great device for us in terms of,
But I happen to love how terribly David treats Johnny, his father. Like, there's very, very kind of little respect shown, and yet it's kind of there. He just doesn't, show it, and Johnny doesn't really react to it in an angry way. He just kind of accepts it because he doesn't know any better.
Yeah. Well,
because he doesn't know what it's like on the other side.
When you talk about the brother and sister taking care of each other and having, depending on each other, it made me think they could never depend on their parents.
Sure.
So they no wonder he has no respect for his dad. Seriously, or his mom, because they've been left on their own. Raised in some kind of captivity. Wealthy.
There's a lot of nannies and
you could never depend on your parents.
Yeah, but again, that's because money was the replacement for what family.
Throw some money at
it. Yeah,
throw some money. A lot of those stories came from my own experiences with friends of mine. Not my own personal experience. An amendment must be made.
Thank you very much.
We can edit that part out.
I spent a couple years in the private school system and did not like it, and my sister did as well. And the people that you meet, these are real people. These are people that I have encountered in my life. Kids of these families who are, bankers and this and that, and they're never home, and it's, they just come home to $100 bill and like pizza on the counter, and it's a sad reality for these kids because they don't have a family in a sense. It's like the mom got pregnant and somehow it's like, okay, well now what do we do? Because we have a vacation to go on and they have to be at school or something. And a lot of that is, a lot of these stories that we explore in the show were drawn from sort of experiences that I've sort of witnessed.
But
not personally.
Is there sometimes, like, do you have to remember, like, oh, that's my dad, we just don't work together? I mean, has this changed the family dynamic? I know your sister does the show. Does that change the dynamic of what you guys had before this show?
I think creatively, I feel like we've both learned a lot.
Yeah.
I think for a long time, I was a host on MTV up in Canada for a long time, and I do feel like there was a desire for a long time for me to prove myself independently. I know that, the term nepotism is sort of blindly and naively thrown around a lot in this industry. And as someone who really wanted to prove myself, I separated and distanced myself from my dad and for a long time didn't talk about it. And then I think I got to a point where I felt like I'm contributing to this conversation equally. And once I felt like we had a conversation about the show, and I felt like he was respecting my involvement, and it didn't really feel like a power dynamic, which was very generous for him as well, to allow that kind of freedom for someone who hadn't had that kind of experience. But I do feel like we are on the same level now, and I think that's what's made me comfortable to do all this, because I do feel like I'm contributing. in a way.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
In a way.
Now I just.
I mean, it is. It's such a bizarre. The idea of nepotism in Hollywood is such a bizarre thing, and you hear it all the time, especially in our first season. It was, a lot of people. Like one guy asked me on a radio, like, so what's it like to grow up in your father's shadow? And you're left thinking, like, first of all, what kind of a question is that?
Yeah.
And second of all, there's so much at stake, I feel like, in entertainment, monetarily, creatively. The idea of nepotism just doesn't work. I think you get certain doors open to you as someone who has a connection, but that's the same door that anyone with any kind of connection would have. What you do with that opportunity, I think, is what defines your path. So it's a very strange thing for me, the idea of nepotism, and somehow the fact that jobs are handed out in this industry on a silver platter is,
talent.
Yeah, and talent goes the same way.
Here's your talent.
Well, Eugene, is that something you even wanted for your kids, to be in the business, or?
Oh, I never conceived of my kids being in the business. It was a bit of a surprise to me that they ended up in the business. With Dan, it was he was doing a lot. They created their own thing in high school. They made a stage play out of a movie, I think.
Yes.
Like a lot.
That's
it was really great. And on stage, he was really great and really funny. And then he took a film course in university, and I thought, okay, well, he's definitely kind of moving in this showbiz area. It seemed very natural, and he seemed, smart, and that he was doing all the right things. It's funny because when he first came up to me with the idea about doing the show, and do you want to work on it? And of course, as a dad, I was saying, oh my God, sure. In my mind, I'm going, sure, but to him, I get, okay, yeah, sure, that sounds great. I'm thinking, what a great thing to work with your kid. Now, and then we started working on it, and then the biggest fear I had was one night in bed, I kind of woke up in a cold sweat thinking, what if he doesn't have it? What if he has not
That's turned
the
into
talent?
A recurring nightmare.
What if he doesn't have the talent to do this? Do I have to sit him down at some point to say, look, this little show we're working on is not going to go anywhere, and I think this is a wrong path for you? And I actually was thinking, or do I not have that talk and just pretend that everything is, moving along? And that dissipated very, very quickly when I realized that he was, as a writer in a comedic force, he was like way, way out there, and I was able to relax. I think it's great. It's not an easy business to go into in any way, shape, or form.
MTV alone can be a nightmare, right? I mean,
absolutely.
People, I don't think anyone realizes what they go through on MTV, because you're interviewing a lot of people who've never been interviewed before, and a lot of them don't want to be interviewed.
Most of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you want
to say music particularly.
Yeah.
People in music just really don't want to be interviewed and sort of hate you for interviewing them.
Yeah.
So it was, it's funny.
I always think by the time, the classic rock guys, they've been around enough and they get it. But somebody who just had an album, their first album and their first single, they haven't thought about anything. They're just doing it. So to watch those interviews, to me, is always the cringiest thing.
And we shot live too, so it was like, if it was tanking, you just gotta sort of like wave your flags and hope that you survive the next day.
And then the nightmare of red carpet work, where they're pulling
the worst experience of my entire life.
Didn't you?
Yeah.
It was the worst experience of my entire life. People don't want to And anyone with a brain who's asking these questions doesn't want to ask them. I don't want to ask what you're wearing. That's what my boss is making me ask. I'm a smart person. I went to school. I have good intentions. Can you see it in my eyes that I'm also mortified to be asking this question? We hosted the MTV Movie Awards red carpet for MTV, and it was a big deal, and there was a lot of people that came, and the process was so excruciating for me because it went against everything, and on a very fundamental level too. I think as someone who needed an outlet to create and make something, I always felt like I want to be doing something that someone wants to ask me about. That was sort of my intention through all of it. And it was sort of saddening a little bit because I thought this isn't what I want to do. And I'm literally trapped on a red carpet asking someone something about a movie I haven't watched, being just death stared, and the carpet ended, and a grown human being, burst into tears, and finally went home and told my bosses, like, I can't. You can either fire me or put me somewhere else, but I can't do these red carpets again.
Well, this is a movie or TV show that we haven't done yet. I think there's a story there.
Behind the scenes of an entertainment news show. Thank you for giving me that idea.
That was the last carpet you did?
That was the last one.
That was it, yeah.
That's great.
Weeping.
Yeah, weeping.
It's the most and people look at you like you are human trash. And it is, you forget that everyone's here, everyone has a job to do, and especially the junket scenario too, sitting down with people on junkets, and having now done junkets, you understand that from an actor's perspective, you're sitting down with your 400th person who's come in to ask you the exact same question that you've been asked 400 times before, and yet that person's job needs that answer just as much as the first person. And it's been a huge education to have seen both sides of that.
Are you
world.
Nicer to them when
Absolutely.
you're interviewed now? Are you not?
Oh my God! Anyone who asks me a question, I'll answer.
Yeah,
because you realize it's just people have jobs to do.
You see in their eyes that they want to do something else.
Yeah, you do. There's a panic in their eyes, and it's only entertainment because something like this, we're having a great conversation. You don't get those opportunities in entertainment news.
Well, I know. One time I had to sit down and talk to the whole cast from Schitt's Creek, and it was amazing. Let's hear it, everybody. Gil Levy, Catherine Harris, Daniel Levy, and Annie Murphy. Thank you so much. You guys are great.
Thank you, Ron.
The best shoes in the business, too. Everybody's got great shoes. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.